radio in high fidelity.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorda, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib. And we have a great show for you today. As always, you can catch us on the web at www.ringsidereporter.com. If you want to call and ask questions or just give your 2 cents, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. Hit option 1 if you want to talk to us, and we'll be here till about 9 p.m. tonight. Today, we're going to talk about Triple G versus Danny Jacobs. It's a done deal. We're going to give you all the details. This is incredible news. So incredible that I just feel overwhelmed even telling you this. This is like Christmas before Christmas, okay? We have 2 train wrecks of the week this week. 2. This is like a dream. Floyd Mayweather is also making headlines because he is now going after DeGale. We'll talk about that. But first, we get started with HBO, Bernard Hopkins, his final fight versus Joe Smith. Bernard Hopkins finished his career the same way he started, with a loss. Nobody really knew what to expect from Joe Smith. I mean, we knew going in that he was this big, strong kid. He had knockout power. We saw him handle Fonfura, saw him knock him out cold, but we weren't really sure how he's going to handle somebody like Hopkins. Hopkins has got this mystique about him. He's 51 years old. He'll be 52, I think, next month or something like that. But he's got this aura about him.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he's got this aura about him, even though he's 51 years old, and he clearly he's been on the downslide, but they just like he's this magical, mythical guy, the way the fight started, man, Hopkins started the fight on the defensive, and honestly, it looked like a typical Hopkins fight. One thing that was missing, though, was Hopkins wasn't throwing any punches. He went through the entire fight without offering much offense at all, and I said before that fight that the keys to victory for Joe Smith is going to be throwing more punches, being more active, and applying the pressure. And he did just that, and it paid off big time. Hopkins had a better second round and he connected with that counter right hand that he's famous for. But Smith actually took it pretty well, and it was the only really meaningful punch Hopkins threw in that round. He landed it a couple of other times through the fight, but Hopkins was really, by and large, doing no damage to Smith. I mean, did not slow Smith down at all. He may have made Smith think a couple of times, but by and large, Smith is coming in on him, putting a lot of pressure on him. And I would have liked to seen Joe Smith go to the body more. That's just my thing. I would like to see him go to the body more, take those legs away from that 50-year-old guy. But the way the pressure takes it away too, man. Pressure will definitely tire you out, man. Smith was just way too much for Hopkins. Hopkins really wasn't that competitive here, in my opinion. He had his moments, but there weren't many for sure. The one thing I would have liked to seen is, like I said, man, Smith go to the body. That was my one pet peeve in this fight, was that Smith didn't go to the body more. At the end, it didn't matter, though. In the 8th round, Joe Smith backed up Hopkins against the ropes and caught him with a big combination that ended with a big left hook, a solid left hook right on the chin, sent Hopkins through the ropes onto the floor. Ironically enough, the greatest part of this whole thing was that nobody tried to catch Hopkins as he fell right onto his shoulders outside the ring. It looked like when he hit, it looked like he hit the back of his head or top of his shoulders right in there. At this point, now he's out of the ring. At this point, he's got a count of 20 to get back in the ring. Hopkins could not beat the count, and the fight was declared a TKO. Now, somebody explain this to me, because if you don't beat the count, that's a knockout. Robert, is that correct? If you do not beat the 10 count, that's a knockout.
Yeah, whether it's the 10 count or the 20 count, you are knocked out.
Right.
So it goes in the record books as a TKO, which I don't understand. It should be a clear KO.
Of course, you know, if the fight is stopped, that's a TKO. Hopkins did not beat the count of 20.
Yeah.
The referee counted 20. He's not in that ring.
Right.
That's a knockout, you know, and, you know, live with it, because the bottom line is he did not make that count. And they could say all they want. The guys were asking him outside if he was okay and everything like that. And he says, no, my ankle and this and that. But the fact remains, he went in there, and that is a knockout. He could not make it back in the ring. After the fight, Bernard Hopkins refused to say that it was a punch that KO'd him. Instead, and by the way, he didn't even he just got out of there, didn't even do an interview. They had to go chase him down in his dressing room to catch this guy. He you know, said it wasn't a punch. He said he's claiming that Joe Smith pushed him out of the ring. He claims that he couldn't continue because of an ankle injury. Now, how he got an ankle injury, that's, you know, your guess is as good as mine on there, because he fell headfirst out of the ring. His ankles never even touched the floor. They weren't hung up on anything. The only thing he could have an ankle injury on is maybe hitting it on the side. And I watched that video a million times, and, you know, whatever. I mean, if he says he got it, whatever, you know. He refused to give Joe Smith any ounce of credit for this. He claimed he was catching Joe Smith. He claimed he was wearing him down, and that basically Joe Smith cheated to get him out of the fight. He was so classless in defeat, and that's hopefully what people remember about him, honestly. I really hope that. Bernard Hopkins had such a great career, but quite honestly, man, I'm glad he's done. He insulted everyone and showed no respect for any of his opponents through his career, man, or his trainers, for that matter. It was funny. Joe from Indiana, the guy who calls the show, I'm friends with him on Twitter, and we were talking back and forth last night, and he asked me what happened to Naseem Richardson, Hopkins' old trainer. And apparently Hopkins fired him without having a conversation. This is according to an interview I saw with Richardson. And then his trainer before that, Bowie Fisher, had to take him to court for shorting him about $200,000. I mean, through his entire career, it just seemed like he screwed people. You know, and honestly, I don't feel bad for him, man. I think it was fitting. I think it was a fitting way for him to end his career with a highlight reel knockout. So good riddance. Beeb, what were your thoughts on this? What were your thoughts on the fight, how Joe Smith looked, and Bernard Hopkins' antics after the fight?
Well, real quick, when you're going down the list of people Bernard Hopkins screwed, you can't forget Lou DiBella. Lou DiBella was his manager and actually got him in that first middleweight tournament that really brought him to prominence when he beat Felix Trinidad to win that tournament. Yeah. Basically, you know, get his first really big payday, and then he didn't want to pay Lou DiBella as well. But, you know, this is the thing, okay? There's an old saying in life that you can't subtract from others to add to yourself. And as soon as this fight was announced, he tried to tear this guy down, Joe Smith. He had to break Joe Smith down to build himself up. Now, you're sitting there saying you're a legend, all right, and your resume does speak for itself. We can't take that away from you. But to have to continuously tear people down to try to build yourself up, to make yourself look better, then that shows a sign of insecurity. Now, you know, I thought that Joe Smith did a great job. I mean, he fought his fight, and throughout this fight, you could see Bernard Hopkins was trying desperately to slow the pace of this fight down. Tried to, you know, lie on the ropes, take breaks, suck Joe Smith into counters. But the one thing that really was gone from Bernard Hopkins, Roy Jones kept saying his legs were gone, his legs were gone. No, his timing was gone.
Yep. Because
the old Bernard Hopkins probably could have saw some of those punches coming and could have slipped them and countered. This Bernard Hopkins could not do that. So the reflexes were definitely dulled in this fight. It was very evident. But take nothing away from Joe Smith. You know, Joe Smith did catch a few shots, but he kept moving forward. He was putting shots together. And I disagree with you slightly. I think that Joe Smith in the middle rounds did go to the body, and it did start to pay dividends for him. I gave Bernard Hopkins two rounds in this fight. Possibly, if you wanted to be generous, you could have given him 3. So I thought Joe Smith was winning this fight. I thought the tide was turning, particularly in that 8th round. And I just thought that, you know, when Bernard Hopkins was trying to take those breaks flying on the ropes, Joe Smith would not let him do it. And I want to talk about something else that really bothered me, in the build up to this fight. The last press conference that happened, Joe DeGuardia, who was Joe Smith Jr.'s promoter, you and I talked about this, Eric. And we got up there and he's talking about, Joe Smith Jr. being the working man, being, a hero for the common man out there. You know what I'm saying? So, like, basically, this is a guy, because boxing is a sport of the have-nots. Whether you came up hard, you didn't have the parents, you got in trouble, and you got picked off the street by someone who tried to, show you a better way. So you got in the gym to keep yourself out of trouble, whatever the case may be. Some guys have to work 9 to 5 and fight on the side and hope to get that big fight, which Joe Smith did against Fonfora and again against Bernard Hopkins. So, he is a common man. I'm a common man. You're a common man. The majority of us out there are common men because we work for a living. We work 9 to 5. What is wrong with that? So then Bernard Hopkins gets up to the podium, goes on his spiel. He said, common man. There's a lot of people out there who are common, okay? But I'm special. So basically taking a shit on everyone that has a 9 to 5 out there, trying to put food on the table for their family. You got to give this kid Joe Smith credit. Working a 9 to 5, probably getting up 5 in the morning doing his road work. Then after his road work, go home, take a shower. Then he goes to work. Then after work, he's got to go to the gym, spar, train, what have you, whatever you got to do. That takes a lot to do that, okay? That takes a lot to do that. And to denigrate that man for doing that and for pissing on everyone out there that has to do things like that, single mothers out there that have to work 2 jobs or whatever, and calling them common, after that, I said to myself, you know what? I hope this common man kicks your fucking special ass. And he did that. He did that. And you know what? He deserved it. And not only that, as great as the resume is, you can go back to a lot of current controversial things in Bernard Hopkins' career, particularly that Robert Allen fight that he was talking about when he got supposedly thrown out of the ring, when him and Robert Allen were in a clinch. Mills Lane, the referee, weighs about $125, $130, soaking wet with an anvil in his back pocket. He's breaking them. And, you mean to tell me that he threw Bernard Hopkins out of the ring when he was breaking them? And then Bernard Hopkins just conveniently falls out of the ring and decides he doesn't want to continue. Whatever the case. I mean, I just can't buy that little Mills Lane threw Bernard Hopkins out of the ring. And then the thing with Chad Dawson, when he supposedly lands on his elbow, when the tape clearly showed that he landed on his hip and his side, and the elbow did not even make contact with the canvas, and then we're supposed to believe that his shoulder got knocked out of place and he didn't want to continue. And then in the Joe Calzaghe fight, Joe Calzaghe hits him on the belt line, then he goes down, and little WWE act, grimacing in pain on the canvas, and staying there for about a good minute or so, 2 to 3 minutes, whatever, trying to get Joe Calzaghe disqualified, for hitting him low. So, these are all these so-called crafty things that he does. But, to me, they're underhanded. They're underhanded. And he actually did an underhanded thing last night by trying to take credit away from that guy, Joe Smith, that young man who came out of nowhere and upset this legend, who no one really thought, he could do. Except for you, Eric. You mentioned that it was possible.
I did. So, I didn't want to throw that out there, but I picked him.
No, but you did say
we both.
But in all fairness, Robert, I said it first. I'm just saying I didn't want to take credit for anything. I'm just throwing that out.
So basically, this was your last fight, and this was the greatest opportunity to go out in class. But you didn't go out in class because you got punched out of the ring and you landed on your back and hit your head. At no point in time did you land on your ankle. At no point in time did your ankle get twisted. You can go back and watch the tape. I don't care. I don't think there's anyone of sane mind that's going to sit there and say that you twisted your ankle in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So that was total lunacy. And then you're saying you got pushed out the ring. And the replay clearly shows that he put a 3-piece on you and sent you into orbit, and you went out that ring. There's no question about that. And then for you to sit there and say, well, the people know what happened. Yeah, we know what happened. We know what happened. And not one person says you got pushed out the ring, and not one person says you twisted your ankle. So the snake oil salesman bullshit that you've been trying to pull your whole fucking career, didn't work. Hitting people in the nuts, hitting people in the head, intentionally headbutting people. You intentionally headbutted Joe Smith last night, okay? And he still came through, put the 3-piece on you, and set you into orbit. You had to deal with that. Hitting people in the hip and in the cup when the ref's not looking. But everyone's like, oh, this guy's crafty. This guy's crafty. No, it's a dirty motherfucker when he wants to be. And he gets away with it, and that's all well and good. But, this put the icing on the cake. He went out classless. Didn't give the kid 1 ounce of credit. Okay? And he deserves credit last night because, you can say what you want, but Bernard Hopkins got old overnight. But this is a kid, as I said, working a 9 to 5. Doesn't have a real professional training camp like a world-class fighter would have. Okay? And, he's under the lights in there with a legend, and the whole crowd is booing him. Everyone's against him. So he's got to deal with that too. All right? And, he's under the lights. This is the biggest fight of his career. It's easy to freeze up in there under those circumstances. The young man did not do so. Okay? So regardless if you're 52 or not, give this guy who came out of nowhere credit for not only beating you, but knocking you the fuck out. You took the 20 count. You took the 20 count. So, that's all I got to say about that, man. I'm not going to say anything nice about Bernard Hopkins because I don't like the way he went out last night. I respect the man. I can't do what he has done. Not many people could fight until they're 52, win a championship in his late 40s. I give him full credit for that. Hall of Famer, without question. But lacked class last night.
Well, I want to focus on the man that deserves the credit here. Bernard Hopkins picked this guy out of a hat because he thought, oh, this is going to be easy pickings. What he did against Fonfora, oh, that was a fluke. That was a lucky punch. This guy will be easy pickings. And he found out that Joe Smith is no easy pickings. And if he keeps beating people like Bernard Hopkins and Fonfora, he'll be able to quit his 9 to 5 job and be a full-time fighter and get a real trainer and be involved in a real training camp. This is the kind of guy we have to get behind in this sport. He's a working man. He does his thing, doesn't get in trouble, shows respect for people. And I read articles throughout the week, and he openly said, my job here is to go in and run this guy's going away party. My job is to go in there and knock him out. What we didn't know is he was going to knock him completely out of the ring. And you don't see that very often. But I think our focus needs to be on Joe Smith. He needs to get all the credit here. He's went in twice now, in June and in December. He went in to 2 situations where he wasn't supposed to do anything, and he upset the apple cart both times. It's time for him to get rewarded for his work. And I think that's what needs to happen here. Bernard just needs to shut his mouth and live the rest of his life and don't be such a sore loser, because that's exactly what he was.
Yeah, and going back to Beeb's point here about Bernard Hopkins and, he's such a tricky fighter. He's so crafty. I mean, like throwing elbows, headbutts, stepping on people's feet and everything like that, tripping them. Crafty, like you said, it equals, he's a dirty fighter. That's what he is. And everybody knows that about him. It's not like he's got some kind of book on, just how to do things in the ring. I mean, he's a very dirty fighter. I mean, we've seen this over and over again from him. Elbows, shoulders.
And you want to hear? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You want to hear the irony of it all? You want to hear the irony of it all? Every time someone beats him or does something to him, then he turns around and calls them dirty.
It's crybaby.
You know what I'm saying? That's like the robber That's like the robber complaining somebody stole his car.
Right.
The car thief complaining.
Right.
That's like the car thief complaining, hey, someone stole my car. Get the fuck out of here.
Just a baby. Just a
Well,
complete baby.
he did learn a lot of dirty tricks in prison there. So he took that 5 years of experience and used it in his life for the last 28 years, and was as dirty as he could possibly be whenever he had the chance to do so. Let's be honest about it. Yes, he accomplished a lot. He won a lot of world titles. He defended the middleweight title 20 consecutive times, which Triple G is trying to break, by the way. And now after last night's performance, I hope the hell he breaks that record and takes that record away from Bernard Hopkins. I mean, his performance last night was so classless. I lost a lot of respect for him last night.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're going to go to the phones here in just a minute. Let's talk about this, though, real quick. Let's talk about the HBO announcers last night and their bias. And one of the judges, let's also talk about this, too. Something that I don't want to get lost here. One of the judges had Hopkins ahead at the time of the stoppage. I want to know how that's possible.
Oh, God.
I want to know how that's possible.
Yeah. Wasn't it? Didn't he have it 69, 64, Eric?
I had it 6. I think that's what I had, but the guy had that for Smith. But the Hopkins was like a 1 or 2 rounds difference. Yeah, one of it was 1 or 2 rounds difference for the Hopkins. The one that had Hopkins ahead. I have no idea what you're watching if you have Hopkins ahead or you thought that was like a competitive type of fight. That was a one-sided beating from start to finish. I mean, it was just, to me, it was pretty clear he was getting killed. You know, he wasn't alive on those scorecards. And the HBO announcers were just all over Hopkins through the entire fight. They didn't give Joe Smith credit either until it was all said and done. You know, but they were all over over Hopkins shorts the entire time.
The only one that actually gave him credit, and I normally disagree with him, but Harold Letterman. He came out and said, hey, I've watched all of his fights. I drive to see a lot of his fights. He's winning this fight here. He's the only one that actually gave him any kind of credit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was unreal. Beeb, what did you think about the HBO announcers, that lovely crew of people?
Well, once again, ridiculous. Saying that one guy can win, on the undercard because he's from Guadalajara. What the fuck does that have to do with the cost of tea in China? The fight just starts, and Joe Smith is moving forward, and then Roy Jones is saying, "Well, he looks like he's getting tired." Right? What do you mean he looks like he's getting tired? Like, what did he take a Quaalude in the locker room and he's fucking out of it or something?
Right.
How does he look like he's tired?
What are you watching?
Fucking started. It was like oh my God. And then they're sitting there, every time Joe Smith was like coming on, then Roy Jones was like, but Bernard's letting him do this because he's going to get tired. The kid's 27 years old. He's in the prime condition. He's in the prime of his life. Bernard Hopkins fights a slow-paced fight. There's no way Bernard Hopkins is going to make this kid get tired. And the kid was in shape last night. It was very evident the kid was in shape. He was not slowing down. Round after round, I had to sit there and listen to Roy Jones saying, oh, he's getting tired. He's getting tired. He's getting tired. What the fuck fight are you watching? Because he's not getting tired because he's continuously moving forward, putting on pressure and throwing punches. There's only one guy in there that was getting tired, and that was the 52-year-old Bernard Hopkins, or the 51-year-old Bernard Hopkins. That was the only guy in there getting tired because he could not slow down the pace of the fight. Every time he went to the ropes and tried to lay back and catch a breather, Joe Smith would not allow it. He wasn't having it. So, I mean, it was just disgusting. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so let's go to the phones now. Let's go to 347. 347, you are live.
Hello?
Hello, 347, you're live.
You're on, go ahead.
What's up, Eric? What's up, Robbie? And what's up, Beeb?
What's going on, man? Who am I talking to?
I'm talking to Nick from New York.
Nick from New York. Good to have you on the show, buddy.
Welcome aboard, Nick.
What did you think of Hopkins last night?
Bernard Hopkins looked way old. His legs, how he was moving, it was like a real grandpa, man.
Did you notice the short
this guy
steps he was
moving
taking?
in the ring, I was
Yeah.
like, say what?
Did you notice the short steps he was taking when he would go backwards? Those little short steps. It looked like he was off balance almost. He was stepping so close together.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Like he was like grandpa moving in the ring. And I agree with Beeb that Bernard is dirty fighter. He doesn't give other fighter credit when they beat him. There's always some issue cause him to lose. He thinks he's the best, and he doesn't give. And it's good that the guy beat his ass. But my question for you guys, where do you guys put Joe Smith now? Because I think the top 4 light heavyweight beats him.
I don't know, man.
You know, the problem you have with a guy like Joe Smith, he's still a young guy. He's burst on the scene with 2 spectacular wins. You know, it'll be interesting to see where they go, where he goes from here. You know, there's rumors of a couple of fights, but we just have to wait and see what happens, you know?
Beeb, what do you think about his jab? I think he needs to do a better work on his jab. He doesn't jab too well.
Well, I mean, the guy is he's just a pressure fighter, and you know, I think that he wants to shorten up the distance of the fight, and I don't think he really throws a long jab. I think he throws kind of like a short, quick jab,
right?
Just to try to get himself inside
and throw the power. Yeah.
Yeah, so it may give the impression that it's not really a long, sharp, crispy jab, but the thing is Joe Smith Jr. likes to fight on the inside, and you know, his jab is basically used not really to set punches up, but to keep his opponent occupied. So while he's flicking it out there, he can slide in behind it and get in their chest, where he can really land the heavy artillery, which is that right hand and that short left hook. That's what he wants to do.
So, Eric, what do you think about him fighting Pascal?
I think that's a great fight, man. I think that's a good fight. That's a logical fight for him. But I've got a feeling, and I could be way off base here, man, but I got a feeling that Adonis Stevenson may be next for him. Because, you know, he's fought on PBC
and
before.
That's the wrong way to put him.
I agree, but I think that he could be next for Adonis Stevenson. And then they're going to put that title around his waist. Because I think – you know what, man? I don't know, man. Stevenson is a kind of a one-dimensional fighter, man, but he's a good one-dimensional fighter. You know, you can't really take that away from him. I like the Pascal fight. I think that Pascal is, you know, he's not doing well, put it that way. I mean, he wasn't what he, you know, he's not where he once was. But I think that's a good fight. I think that's a good move-up fight for him. But I've just got that feeling.
And this guy, Better Beef too, should be a good fight for him, right?
No, he needs to stay as far away from Better Beef as possible.
Nick, I've got a question for you. Since you're from New York, they're talking about him and Shawnee Monahan fighting in New York. What do you think about that?
I don't even know who is that. Believe me, I don't know who's Johnny Monahan. I'm the top layer fighters. That's who I know. But I want to change topic. The whole thing with this whole heavyweight thing, and this guy get caught cheating again, man. This shit is stink. And then he just went into the ring and knocked somebody out with his cheating ass. How they could allow that?
I tell you what, that is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. And since you mentioned it,
how they could even allow that to happen, to go in a fight when you already get caught cheating like that, and then you go in and look how he knocked that guy out. Oh yeah, that shit is crazy.
Well, here's the deal. Here's the crazy part about that. Okay, so he goes in and he tests positive for his PED. Okay, the WBC withdraws their sanctioning. It's done. They're not going to sanction the fight. So no title is on the line, no interim, no nothing. At that point, you would think that, you know, the promoters would jump in there and say, you know what, he's cheating. We're not going to go on with the fight. No. Oh, no, that's not the way it goes. Where was the commission in all this? Why in the world did the commission, the Russian commission, let this go on? Yeah. That's just nonsense. So you have this guy who's on PEDs.
That's nonsense.
Fighting this guy, and I don't even know. I haven't even gotten clearance yet on whether Johan Duhaupas was even on the card. I don't know if he was on the undercard. I have no idea. I can't find out anywhere.
Well,
I don't.
1 day notice.
What's that?
1 day notice.
Yeah, I mean, was he on the
He got a
undercard?
1 day notice for the fight. He wasn't. To my
No,
knowledge,
he's supposed to be
wasn't
fighting in January. In
Wow.
January, he's supposed to be fighting.
So maybe
Yeah.
he was in training. Maybe, I mean, if he was maybe in the beginning of training. He clearly wasn't ready for this fight. You could watch a fight and see that.
He probably just getting ready to start. He probably just getting ready to start camp for his fight in January.
Absolutely.
And Don King is going to sue this. He's probably going to sue the Russian promoter to get some money.
Gonna have to. That's what what's his face did. That's what Wilder did. Wilder tried to sue him too, and I think that's probably still tied up in litigation or whatever. But it's ridiculous. I mean, that fight. I blame the commission
you guys
here.
think Povetkin going to get 2 years ban?
No. I
Hopefully he gets a permanent ban.
he's not going to get a permanent ban. I guarantee what's going to happen is nothing. Nothing happened to him last time. Why would anything happen to him this time? It doesn't make sense. And Rubinsky's already came out.
But they won't allow him to come in America to fight, dude. He probably will only have to fight in Europe and Russia.
He's not coming out of there anyway. Rubinsky's going to win all the purse bids. Rubinsky's already come out and is questioning the test. So they're going to get their lawyers on it. They're going to put some doubt in the minds of people and stuff like that. And I guarantee he may get a slap on the wrist from this, but he'll be back in contention soon. I mean, that's what's going to happen. It's ridiculous. I mean, it really is ridiculous. And it just blows me away. So, all right, man. We're going to get running here, Nick, man. I appreciate your call.
All right, man.
And,
thank you.
Keep listening, man. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for calling.
Awesome call, man. Awesome call. All right, let's go to 405. 405, I believe that's Oklahoma. 405, you're live.
Yeah, it's Oklahoma.
How you guys doing tonight?
Hey, what's going on?
We're doing
Santos?
good, man. Santos, yep.
Not much.
Yeah, man. What's up,
The
man?
only problem I have with the Povetkin Stavern thing is, like Robbie likes to say, the WBA is a bunch of fucking idiots. WBC is a fucking idiot.
Unbelievable.
Because when
Yeah.
Stavern popped 30 like 3 weeks ago, they didn't have no problem continuing the sanction of fight. But Povetkin, of course, he was dirty too. But it's just crazy that Povetkin knew he was on watch and he still popped dirty. But Stavern popped dirty 3 years ago, and the WBC still was going forward with the fight. That's when the fight should have been stopped right there 3 weeks ago.
They're not doing nothing to him. There ain't nothing going to
They
happen.
really care. And WBC really cared about the health of the fighters 2 weeks ago when Stavern popped 30. They should have stopped right there.
Yeah.
But like you say, Eric, I don't think nothing's going to happen to him.
Nope. Nothing at all, man. What did you think
And,
of Hopkins last night?
To be honest, I haven't watched the fight. I got a DVR. The fight I did watch was the card I did watch was the Shabranskyy Barrera fight. And the fight I liked a lot on that card was I'm not sure if you guys watched the Rios and Tapia fight.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys catch that fight? The body work that Rios was putting on Tapia was pretty good.
Wow.
I'm surprised Tapia. You remember that, Eric, watching that fight?
I don't know that I saw that fight. Beeb, did you catch that fight?
No, I just saw the Barrera fight, actually. That was the only
No, you guys got
I was.
You guys got to watch that fight. The body work that Rios puts on Tapia is nasty. It's like
Wow.
Yeah.
real good. But in the Barrera fight, I'm not sure what you guys think, but do you guys think that Shabranskyy went into the fight thinking well, if Ward went in there and we got a decision from Barrera, I'm going to go in there and try to blow him out and underestimated Barrera. You guys think that?
I got the sense of that too, yeah.
Absolutely.
It looked like he was just, it looked like he just got it, went in the pocket. You know what the funny thing was? This was the funny thing, is like Shabranskyy to me looked slow in this fight. And Barrera Barrera looked like he was faster than Shabranskyy, and that's not something that I anticipated before this fight started. I thought Shabranskyy was going to be the quick guy. I thought he was going to go in and out a lot. But, like I said, you made a good point about him underestimating Barrera because he sat there and stood in the pocket with him, and he didn't move that much. He usually moves a lot, Shabranskyy. He moved more than that. And maybe he was looking to make a statement, but this was the wrong guy to sit there and get in a firefight with, because this guy is big, strong, and he can punch.
And
so,
I think he underestimated his power.
Yeah. Well, without question. I thought that, he thought that he could hit Sullivan Barrera and kind of, push him back and hurt him and stop him from, getting off his offense. But that wasn't the case, because Barrera, with the exception of getting, knocked down with that flash knockdown, he was taking everything well. And he was coming back, and he was hurting Shabranskyy more than Shabranskyy was hurting him. So, yeah, it seemed like it was the wrong tactics to go in there and try to get in a slugfest with Barrera, because obviously it didn't work.
And I think Joe Smith is next in line for that WBC Adonis Stevenson belt. But what about a fight with Smith and Barrera?
I think that's a bad matchup.
I was saying that too.
Yeah, I think that's a bad matchup for Joe Smith.
Someone mentioned it in the chat.
Yeah, I saw somebody mention it in the chat. I think it's a bad matchup for Joe Smith. I really do. I think that the caller we said Pascal. I think that's a better matchup. That's definitely a better matchup for Joe Smith, because he's going to give him a little bit more movement, a little more something to think about. But I think he's still able to win that fight. The Barrera fight, man, Barrera's a tricky fighter, man. Barrera is a really solid fighter, man. I don't know if he's ready for that just yet. So
no, and I'm happy for Smith. Like Beeb said, he's just a regular Joe like us who punches in 9 to 5, and I just hope he gets a payday.
Yeah, me too. And I hope he keeps it going, man. Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, score one for the common man.
There you go. Santos, anything else on your mind?
Not too bad. Not too bad, though, when you beat Fonfora and Hopkins back-to-back.
You know what, man? Fighter of the year, man. Fighter of the year, yeah. I mean, he's real. He's definitely in that conversation. I mean, for sure he's in that conversation. Andrew Fonfora and Bernard Hopkins. Yeah, that's a big deal, man.
Yeah.
I know that.
And one more thing, guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
Eric, I caught your interview with Vinny Paz.
Yeah.
I think that's how you say his last name.
Yeah, Paz.
And that was a good interview. I listened to it twice.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
One of the moments that gave me a smile and kind of chills a little bit was when he said that his last thoughts when he got into a wreck was, I'm never going to defend my belt. I thought, like, wow, what a fucking fighter right there. Like,
what about
the last thing on his head was defending his belt?
Think about that for a minute. I mean, the guy's in a wreck, and that was the last thing that went through his head. I mean, how nutty is that? I mean, it was like, wow.
It shows you, man, to some of these guys, a belt means everything. Now that you have guys dropping his belt like it's nothing.
That's what kind of fighter he was, I mean, that's the thing, man. The guy was a lion, man. He was ready to defend it, ready to, I mean, that was his thing. He wanted to get the belts and he wanted to defend them. And it was like, man, that was it. Not how am I going to make it out of here? Not anything, but just, I'm never going to get a chance to defend my title. That was, wow. Yeah.
And the other thing where he said he was only out for a year. That's amazing, right? Only 1 year.
Yeah. That was my other thing. When I started looking at the timelines and everything like that, I was like, I mean, seriously, it was like a little over a year. And it wasn't, I mean, it was like a little over a calendar year, but it was like 1 year. You know what I mean? If you just look at it like from year to year. I mean, typically it was over 12 months, but it was still 1 year, So definitely, man, it was something else, man.
No, that was a good interview, and I also heard the one with the one before the Chavez fight with the
Bermudez.
Where the guy was working
Andres from BN, yeah, he was good.
Yeah, the only problem I kind of had was the translator. The translator kind of was off on some of the translation.
Yeah, the translator was my father. Easy. Yeah, we were talking about that.
Oh, my bad, Eric. No, never mind. He was a real good translator. He was the best.
Oh God!
What's funny about that is that my dad was talking. We were talking about that after the fact because he told me, he was like, I missed some stuff because he was talking and he said that he would talk like this, like a big, like he wouldn't give my dad a chance to translate it. So he would like go on this, this long thing, and he wouldn't give my dad a chance. So Dad said, I got you the gist of it, and I said, you know what, as long as he got the gist of it, we're okay.
That's the hardest thing in the world to do when someone's long-winded. You got to translate what they said. I mean, you can't say 100% what they said. It's too hard to do that. No one has a photographic memory like that unless you got a stenographer there typing the stuff down and you can read it. I mean, it's impossible.
Well, you know what? That was the funny part too. Is I was telling my dad, I said, you could tell like that guy wasn't. I don't think he was used to giving interviews like that where they were translated because, like I said, I mean, for the amount that he talked, I mean, he just kept going on, and then I was there was one key thing in there. Everything else was like okay, but there was one key thing in there he missed, and the one was with what is it, Heredia? Was it Heredia? Angel Heredia? Or Memo Heredia
Memo Heredia,
yeah, and he was in Chavez's corner for this, and there was no VADA testing. That was what was pointed out to me, and I was like, that's a big one. So, but yeah, I mean, overall, like I said, I mean, he got what we wanted to hear. So,
no, I love those interviews, especially that Vinny Paz one. I love the interview. I listened to it twice.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I'm glad you guys were enjoying the interviews, man. We'll keep going then. Yeah, as long as you guys are listening to them.
But keep up the good work, guys. I'm out.
All right, man. Thank you for calling, buddy. All right, very good, very good. And we got 812 on the line holding. We're going to come right back to you. Just give us a second here. 812 and 508. We're coming back to you.
That would be good old Joe.
Yeah, I think it is Joe. I think it is. I saw him in the chat earlier, so hopefully you can hang on here. All right, we'll talk about the Hopkins undercard here in a minute. Let's move along here because for our other big story here, Alexander Povetkin versus Johan Duhaupas. And I know what you're thinking here is that he was supposed to fight Bermain Stavern. But let's talk about this fight real quick. Povetkin had an easy time with his replacement, Johan Duhaupas. Povetkin scored a 6-round KO. It was a pretty average mismatch, honestly. But what happened before the fight, I guess you could say that was ordinary too, to be honest with you, because this has happened already again. This leads us, Beeb, our train wreck of the week.
Check it.
Very good, very good. So you may be asking yourself, why was Povetkin fighting Johan Duhaupas? He was scheduled to fight Bermain Stavern. Well, that fight went by the boards. When Povetkin, I guess should we call him Povetkin from here on out for PED? Povetkin once again tested positive for PEDs.
He's got the dirty pee-pee.
Absolutely. Povetkin's sample from December 6th turned up dirty. He tested positive for Ostarine. Ostarine is used for a stamina workout. This is what Lucian Butte got popped for back 6 months ago. It's used for stamina, workout recovery. This is the second title fight in a row that this idiot has tested positive. The WBC really had no choice but to pull the sanction from the fight, so no title was on the line here. And once that news came down, Bermain Stavern said, you know what, no title, I'm out of here. He left, refused to fight, and rightfully so. I mean, the guy's on enhancement. He's on enhancement drugs, on PEDs. Bermain Stavern, he's clean according to the test. So why would he fight this guy? Povetkin said afterwards that Stavern was scared and out of shape. Well, we know Povetkin was in shape because he was taking performance enhancers. I mean, so of course this guy's coming in shape. Before you go congratulating the WBC for running a clean program, though, they still have yet to drop Povetkin. Apparently, there's been another hearing. Once Rybinski, the $1 million promoter, drops a couple of C notes on the table, I would imagine he will still be the mandatory. As I said before, Rybinski has already come out and said the test was BS. They've already got a problem with the test, this and that, So after all this, there's still a fight in Russia. How is that possible? How does he test positive for PEDs, and how is he allowed to fight by the commission? How does the commission look at this and say, okay, the WBC has taken this out of here. Bermain Stavern took the last flight out of here. The WBC belt is not on the line. Yeah, let's go ahead and have a fight. Let's go ahead and do it. And I understand tickets are sold and everything like that. But look, man, I mean, the guy tested positive. Where's the commission in all this? But you know what? They're in Russia. They don't care. After all this, there's still a fight. And, you know, my thing is, look here, WADA, the world, let you know what you're dealing with here. You know, is WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, put a blanket ban on the Rio Olympics for Russian athletes. 119 of them were banned because of state-sponsored doping. That means that that's what I said, state-sponsored. The government knew. They were giving these athletes
drugs. The entire
drugs.
country is responsible, yeah.
Right. And they're cheaters.
Yeah.
And, you know, going back to Povetkin, this is the second time he's been caught. You don't think that state-sponsored doping is going to trickle into the pros and boxing and everything like that? Come on, man. I mean, what is that? Robert, what was your reaction when you heard about this?
Well, number one, I couldn't believe that somebody would be stupid enough to get away with this once, you know, and used all kinds of excuses and what have you. But the son of a bitch was stupid enough to try to do it again. I mean, give me a break. You know, give me a break.
That's the thing. He didn't even care. He just said, I don't care. I'm going to do it again, you know?
Yeah. And I guess, Eric, I hate to say this, but I guess as long as he's willing to stay in Moscow, I guess he's going to be able to do whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah.
You know, but have him try to get a fight in any other country, you know, he won't be allowed to do it. So maybe this puts an end to Alexander Povetkin's career as we've known it. If you want to fight him, you go to Russia and you take your chances. But try to get him to go anywhere else. I think his earning power is pretty much over with.
You know, I mean, I hate to disagree with you, but I mean, what do you do? I mean, Shabranskyy, I mean, like I said, he got him off last time. What if he gets him off this time? You know, I mean, this isn't unheard of. This just happened.
No, I realize that, Eric, but you've got a billionaire who's willing to throw his money away. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. Beeb, what were your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, it was just unfathomable. I just couldn't believe it. I was speechless. How could this happen twice? Back-to-back fights. But, you know, you could say what you want about him getting the fights in Russia and this, you know, flying under the radar in Russia. But, like, what sanctioning body, what major organization in boxing is going to let this guy fight for their title after this? So, I don't know. It's going to be tough for him to get big fights down the road. And, you know, you got a guy like Anthony Joshua, got a guy like Deontay Wilder, Joseph Parker. Are these guys going to want to fight him now? Is he going to continue to be ranked by the WBC now?
No.
Is there some type of suspension? Maybe a year. Maybe a year, maybe a 2-year suspension. So, I mean, he could be fighting the Johnny Duhaupas of the world in Russia. And if Ryabitsky wants to pay him, you know, a hefty sum to do so, then yeah, I mean, he could possibly make a good living over in Russia. But, you know, he may never be champion again because of this. He'll never be able to fight for a major title again because of this, or not for a long time, because, you know, guys aren't going to want to fight him, number one. And number two, the sanctioning bodies aren't going to let this guy shame them by, you know, fighting for their title. And then at the last minute, you know, on the 13th hour, they have to pull the sanctioning from the fight because he pops 30 for a test. So this is a horrible look for him. It's a horrible look, you know, for the Russian Boxing Commission to allow the fight to go on. And this just sends a bad message now, because I don't think anyone's going to want to go to Russia and fight now.
I wouldn't want to go to Russia and fight, I'll tell you that. And if I'm a promoter,
hell no.
I'm not a promoter or manager. I'm not putting any of my guys against a Russian fighter. I'm not putting any of my guys against a Russian fighter in Russia. You know, either one of those, the combination of either one of those two, a Russian fighter or a Russian fighter, unless he's under strict strict testing. But you know what? I mean, what are you going to do? Nobody suspected that Stavern was going to pull out of this. Nobody expected that. And so I know Duhaupas got a huge payday for coming in on 1 day's notice. But, you know, nobody expected that's what's going to happen though, is they say, well, you know, we're right up against it. We're right up against it. You might as well go ahead with the fight. I mean, you've trained, you're right. That's what happened with Wilder. Wilder went there to train. That was it. He had been caught, you know, and he pulled out and the fight was off. And then the same thing with Stavern. I mean, I wouldn't have anybody go against that guy. If I'm, like I said, man, I steer completely clear of that guy. I'm sorry, Robert, go ahead.
Wilder went over to the UK
that's
for
right,
3
it was
months.
the UK.
Man.
Yeah,
That's where he did his training. For 3 months, he stayed away from home. And then just as he was getting ready to get on the plane to go to Russia,
that's what it was.
They let him know about.
Yeah, I thought he was in Russia already. I thought he had actually made it to Russia, but I think you're right. He didn't. He was in England training. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. All right, let's check back with the phones here. 812, you're live.
Hey, how you guys doing? Eric, Beeb, Bobby, how you guys doing?
What's happening,
buddy?
Joe. How are you? Hey, good, man. Hey, Eric, when I was tweeting with you last night, man, I was just real happy for Joe Smith, and it's something that would always bother me about him. I don't know if you guys know, but my background, I'm Hispanic, Puerto Rican, and when B-Hop disrespected my culture back when he beat Tito, not just that he beat Tito, but the way he went about it,
the rice and beans and everything.
When he had the rice and the beans, and he stepped on the Puerto Rican flag. From that day forward, man, I never cared for the guy, and I did not feel bad. I mean, and this sounds bad that I don't, but I didn't feel bad when he got knocked out last night.
No,
it was kind of just like I felt like it was a karma that came back on him.
Yep.
And you know, I'm happy for guys like Joe because he totally disrespected him at the press conference. Joe showed nothing but respect to B-Hop, and this guy just looked at him like you touched on it, Beeb. You nailed it right on the head earlier. But this guy was calling him common, and you know, it's just a bunch of BS. But man, that was just I loved it. It was a satisfying knockout, and for him to say he got pushed, and then just typical, like you said, Eric, typical B-Hop with excuses, man.
Yeah, you know, my shoulder,
I don't know,
my head.
I call him smoke.
You know,
it's just he got was coming to him, man, and I was happy, and I'm happy for Joe. We got a new face in boxing. Hopefully, I think he's with Star Boxing. I think that Joe DeGuardia out in New York. So hopefully hopefully they can take their time with him, though. You know.
Yeah. Well, I love the whole Shawnee Monahan idea. I think that would be fantastic. That would be a great fight for New York, and that would be a good undercard fight for Jacobs and Triple G. That would be good. I'd like that.
Joe, you know what really bothered me about that common thing too? Because not everybody can be special. So all the people out there that can't be special, that have to work hard, that have to work 9 to 5 to put food on the table. So those people don't matter. Those people don't count anymore. So this was a guy that came up the hard way, and he was gifted, and he was special in the fact that he could box. So basically, if you can't box, or you can't shoot a three-pointer, or you can't dunk a basketball, or you can't become an actor or a musician, or you can't be special in that regard. So what does that mean? That you just give up? That you can't go out there and continue to work hard and try to put food on your table? What does that mean? That sends a message that, you know what? Unless you have, athletic ability, you're gifted, which a lot of people aren't gifted, then you don't count. Yeah. And that's how Hillary Clinton lost this election, because she basically talked down to the working class, and they punished her for it. You know, and that's just it's not a good look, man. That's not a good look, because when you are special, you're supposed to uplift people. You're not supposed to put them down.
Yeah, and just everything's coming to light now. I remember when B-Hop made a comment about Joe Calzaghe back in the day. I want to say it was 07, 08, somewhere around that time. I can't recall the exact statement, but it was something that he would never lose. I believe I'm paraphrasing here. It's a white man or something like that. And he just, just don't say stupid stuff like that. I mean, this guy's always been known for stuff. And like I said, I was happy for Joe, man. I mean, working in that union job, that's tough work, man. If you're doing stuff like that hard labor like that, I can't even handle that stuff. I tried it out one time. I couldn't even do it, man. And for him to be doing that and training for a world title fight, I mean, I salute the guy, man. And it bothered me too. I felt like that HBO was just riding him. I understand that, he does broadcast on it, but man, show some more love to Joe. But they were just co-signing everything that Duhaupas was doing, and I didn't care for it. But I was so excited. Then, like I told you, Eric, how your last fight you don't even have Naseem Richardson? I mean, I don't know. And I asked you if you knew what happened with all that, but that just was mind-boggling to me too. That you would switch trainers.
He does that all the time. He screws everybody. Like I said, I mean, his first trainer, Bowie Fisher. Yeah, his first trainer, Bowie Fisher. He ended up. Fisher actually had to take him to court to pay him what he owed him, which was 200 plus grand. And then with Naseem Richardson, apparently Naseem had made some comment in an interview or something like that. He really didn't know. He really didn't even know what he said. He just knows that Hopkins never called him back, never talked to him again, nothing. And then Joe was talking about earlier about what was it? Not Joe. Was it Lou DiBella that put him in that tournament?
Lou DiBella,
put him in that tournament,
and
then he set him out to pasture. You know, he's a jerk. I mean, he's just a first-class jerk, man. No matter which way you slice it.
I wonder if John David Jackson's going to get screwed over.
Yeah, because it was probably his fault for he didn't catch him.
I'm glad. I hope that Joe Smith, from going forward, he can maybe. I know he really likes the union job, but maybe he can, with this fight, this will financially give him the freedom where he can train full time.
Yeah,
and we can see some more. The guy's got it, man. I mean, that power. You can't teach power, man. That guy's got some power on him, So I'm really happy for him. I haven't been that excited for a win. And it's like I never had nothing against Duhaupas for a while until I did. I guess when I saw that press conference and when he called him the common man and trying to sell the, I'm like, dude, you sound stupid right now, man. So I was just glad that he took care of business. But guys, I think boxing's shaping up for a nice spring, fall, winter, spring. We got some big fights coming. I know you guys are going to touch on that Jacobs and Triple G.
For sure.
And Robbie, my old guy, I always fall back on old Chavez Jr. Man, possibly getting a Canelo fight. I mean,
not a bad fight, man. I'm telling you, that's not a bad fight, man. That's not bad.
I like it, man. But I like it. But Robbie knows that I always vouch for Chavez Jr. And I don't know. I just always saw something in him, but I guess it's just one of them things that he just never clicked with him. But we'll see, man. But hey, Eric, you got any word yet? I know you're out in Cincinnati. Is Broner's fight going to be out there, or you still don't know?
I still don't know. We don't have 11th. We don't have any word on it. But I know now February 10th. Let me just double check this because I know the date was moved. This is going to be odd, man. Because I know he's fighting in February too. I believe Bronner is. But
Robert Easter is fighting on the 10th, and Bronner's fighting on the 11th.
Okay, Robert Easter is fighting, which this is odd. They're going to move that fight. They're going to move the Bronner fight. I guarantee it, because here's the deal: is that Robert Easter fights on the 10th, and he's fighting in Toledo. He's not fighting in Cincinnati, so he's fighting on the 10th, and I believe he's going to headline that. Well, maybe Bronner fights in Toledo. I don't know, but also too, Rasheed Warren is fighting on that same card in Toledo, along with Jamel Herring. So it seems like, if he's going to end up anywhere, he may end up on that Toledo card. So
why Toledo, though? Bring that to Cincinnati.
Well, Robert Easter is from Toledo, and that's what I contacted. Sense. You know what? That's the funny part, too. Okay. Yeah, he's from Toledo. And the other guy, Tyler McCrary, was he fights for Rock Nation, and I got in touch with Rock Nation to see if he's going to be on that card because he's a Toledo guy and it makes sense. But I guess because they're PBC, they said they don't know anything about it and this and that, and so But I mean, again, man, that's a Toledo guy, and he's friends with all those guys, so it makes sense to put him on there as well. But I mean, whatever.
Yeah. Hey, a quick question for you guys. Did anybody else stand out to you on the HBO undercard? Robbie, I'm interested to see. Did you like? What's that first guy that fought?
Usyk.
He's going to be moving up to heavyweight.
Usyk, yeah, Usyk's good.
You
Usyk's the real deal.
You guys like his stock, or?
Yeah, we'll talk about him in a few minutes, but yeah, I mean, we'll go over that fight in a few minutes, but yeah, Usyk's the real deal, man. I think so. And everybody was booing this fight early on. I didn't think it was boring at all. I mean, I thought he's a good fighter. He's definitely a good
I don't
prospect.
know what happened in California, man. California's a rough crowd now. You would think they're in Philadelphia. Philly's normally a tough crowd, but Jesus, Cali, the fight just started and they were booing already, man.
Yeah.
But no, guys, good show. I'll be listening in. I got to get back to this paperwork, man. But
all right.
Like I said, Beeb, you nailed it earlier when you went off on a Duhaupas, man. I couldn't feel. I felt the same exact way. You just got what you got coming to him, man. And I'm happy. I'm happy it happened. I know it sounds bad because he's 52 years old and got knocked out of the ring, but shit, man, the way he disrespected my culture and other fighters along the way, man, he got what he got coming to him.
Yeah.
Hey,
absolutely.
You guys take care. Have a great week, and we'll talk next week.
All right,
Robbie,
man.
Go Raiders, man. They keep winning.
Oh, get off of here with the Raiders. Who cares about the Raiders? What about the Bengals? They're in turmoil right now, and I don't hear anything. Not one sympathy, nothing from anybody calling in. What about the Bengals? What about my sympathy? What about the play I got to go through living here watching this team meltdown in the second half? Nothing. I don't hear a thing. I don't hear an I'm sorry. I hear nothing.
Eric sounds like a coach. He sounds like a coach after at a post conference, man.
Yeah.
All right, guys, y'all take care.
All right, see you later.
Right.
But one other thing to consider on Bernard Hopkins, guys, if you're HBO or Oscar De La Hoya, after the way he handled himself out of the ring last night, you want him associated either with your promotion company or your network?
Yeah, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care. They're not. They're going to remember. They're going to go and hype him up about how he was this big star in his prime and everything like that. But the bottom line is, nobody's going to care about that. Everybody knew he was a crybaby to begin with. I mean, they really did. You know, I mean,
yeah.
That's it. So. Yeah.
But no, I couldn't believe how bad. But yeah, let's go over the rest of that card because
all right, so
that's good stuff.
I know we got some calls holding 508-804. Please be patient. We're coming back to you. We're going to go over these fights, and then we're going to come back to the phones. How about that? Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Joseph Diaz on the undercard here, on the undercard of the Hopkins debacle. Joey Diaz versus Horacio Garcia. And because, according to and Beeb, correct me if I'm right here. What did Roy Jones say about Horacio Garcia?
He might win because he's from Guadalajara.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and I might hit the lottery because I got a Never Surrender shirt on. Yeah,
but we'll never win the Super Bowl because I'm in Cincinnati. How about that? All right. So Joey Diaz looked good in this fight. Joseph Diaz looked good in this fight, man. It wasn't like, sit down. What are you doing? It wasn't anything spectacular or standout, but it was good. I'd watch him again after this, man. He did a number on Garcia, who came to win. I thought Garcia fought a really good fight in the sense that he came to win. He tried. He was a game fighter, man. He tried to make a run at it, man, but Diaz is just way too good. Final score is 100-90 in all three cards. I actually gave Garcia a couple of rounds in here, man. It wasn't anything crazy. But what were your thoughts, Beeb, when you watched this fight? Were you surprised that the guy from Guadalajara didn't win because he was from Guadalajara? And what did you think of Diaz's performance here?
Well, Joseph Diaz doesn't really do anything dynamic in there, but he's like a grinder. He's just well-rounded, not a huge puncher, not exceptionally quick. But he does the little things, slips punches, changes the look, throws feints here and there. And the thing I like about him is he's just not predictable. And he works hard, and he's in great shape, and I just think Garcia did the best he could. And I give him credit for hanging in there. And even I was watching this fight again this morning with my girlfriend, Linda, and she was sitting there saying, this guy's getting busted up. How does he keep fighting on? How does he keep fighting on? And that's just a testament to Garcia. And it's a situation where you really couldn't stop the fight because Garcia was hanging in there and he kept punching back. And, he kept trying. and he wasn't getting terribly hurt. It was just the accumulation of punches really busted him up. And this is the thing I like about Joseph Diaz Jr. I mean, he knew he probably wasn't going to knock him out, but he didn't get frustrated with that. He didn't get sloppy with that. He just kept, putting on the pressure, doing what he had to do, landed his shots, put his shots together, got in there, got out of there, didn't really take any stupid chances, and didn't do anything stupid, didn't load up with anything. And this was just a real all-around solid performance from him. So Joseph Diaz Jr., again, not really a dynamic fighter, nothing exceptional, but a lot of things he does very well. And that could take him some places in this sport.
No, I really like Joseph Diaz. I mean, I've seen him on several Canelo undercards. Oscar's doing a real good job with him, and now his next fight is supposed to be an eliminator. He's going to be fighting some British dude. I can't remember the guy's name, but the winner of that fight will be the mandatory for Gary Russell's title. So, I think Joseph Diaz Jr. Has a bright future, and he's being trained by his father, who didn't know anything about the sport before his son got into the sport. And we'll be talking about dads later on in the show.
Yeah, right. That's real interesting, because I tell you what, Gary Russell will kill that guy, I think. Wow, yeah, I didn't know that. I tell you, who's a good matchup for me? Who's a good matchup for Joseph Diaz is Lee Selby. I think that's a good matchup for Diaz, and I think he beats Selby pretty soundly. Just depending on where the fight takes place.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, I think he beats him regardless of where it takes place, but if it takes place in London, it'll be a lot closer than if it took place here, put it that way. But yeah, I think that Selby would be a good matchup for him. Let's move ahead here. Alexander Usyk versus Tabiso Munchuno. WBO cruiserweight champion Alexander Usyk retained his title with a stoppage win over Tabiso Munchuno when referee Lou Moret stepped in to stop the fight at 153 of the 9th round after Munchuno went down for the 3rd time in the fight. What did you think? I mean, I thought that Usyk looked pretty good, and I know they from everything I've read and everything like that. I look over at the chat. As I'm doing this, I can see the chat. And I look over here and I can see comments on the chat. The one the comment that just sticks out, it says Corey's on hold. Like, I'm going to drop everything and go to Corey in a second,
Well, he's always campaigning for his own show too, Eric. So keep that in mind. But and Georgie is ahead of him, so he's got to wait. So
But yeah, I thought everybody was trashing this fight in the first couple of rounds, man. But I thought, saying that it lacked action and everything like that. I thought Usyk did a very good job here, because Munchuno is a very awkward fighter. He's shorter and he's a very awkward fighter. He comes at you from different angles. He's he's awkward, man. It's tough to fight that guy, and it's tough. But I thought by the 3rd and 4th round, Usyk had that guy figured out, and then just went ahead with it and finished him off later on. Robert, what did you think of Usyk, man?
I think he's got a bright future. I mean, I was surprised. I don't know if his trainer said this, but somebody in his camp said this when HBO said you're going to fight this guy from South Africa. Somebody said in his camp, really? This is our U.S. debut, and you have to pick somebody that difficult? We're not going to look good at all, something to that effect. And despite that, it took him a couple of rounds to figure the dude out, but once he did, after about the 3rd round, he just took over and did what he had to do. I mean, you got to have a respect for a guy that goes into Poland. He goes into Poland and beats the Polish champion, which we saw on Spike TV get that title originally, because he's the one that beat Marco Huck. So, the guy's got something. It'll be interesting to see where he goes in the future.
I would agree with that. And Robert, I got a bone to pick with you. I've got a bone to pick with you.
Oh no!
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
You remember a few months back when you wanted to get rid of the cruiserweight division? What on earth were you thinking? Well, seriously, what were you
Excuse me,
thinking?
but you're the one that wanted to get rid of. You're the one that wanted to get rid of the cruiserweight division, not me. Nice try, Eric. Everybody go back. Everybody go back to the archives and listen to how Eric talks about the cruiserweight division.
I got rid of the archives.
I don't think so.
All right, let's talk about Sullivan Barrera, Sully Beeb versus Vyacheslav Shabranskyy. Beeb, what did you think about this fight?
This fight was a shocker. Shabranskyy, again, as I said earlier, thought he would do more boxing in this fight. And he was very less mobile. He stood in there. He stood in the pocket with Barrera. Barrera's got a very, very underrated jab. He's got a thudding jab. It's a jab that really hurts his opponent, pushes them back. And he sets up his shots well. He's a very good fighter from the outside. He's got an awesome right hand, and he's got a really decent left hook as well. I just think that, Shabranskyy got hurt in this fight in the first round. And he should have realized that I can't stand in there with this guy. But the worst thing could have happened to him. He actually knocked Barrera down, but it was a flash knockdown. And I think he thought Barrera was hurt. And Barrera didn't look terribly hurt, whereas Shabranskyy, when he went down in the first round, he looked really hurt. So, Shabranskyy was moving forward. He wasn't really moving his head a lot. He was really throwing punches with too much emphasis on trying to really stop Barrera and really hurt Barrera instead of just putting shots together and trying to score and outbox him. So he actually gave me the impression that he thought he was going to stop Barrera. And Barrera, again, could take his shots. And when he came back with his own, Barrera did some really, really good counterpunching in this fight. He was really, really patient. Even though he was aggressive, it was a smart aggression. And he let Shabranskyy come to him. He didn't have to really put his foot on the gas pedal in this fight, but when he did hurt Shabranskyy, he was on him. And he picked and chose his shots very well. I just think Shabranskyy really underestimated Barrera's power and strength in this fight. And he thought that he could bring a bigger gun to the gunfight, and that just wasn't the case. So when you're in there with a big gun, you gotta be smarter than the big gun, and you gotta evade that big gun instead of standing in there and trying to, go punch for punch with Barrera like he did. And definitely, Barrera was the bigger, stronger, heavier-handed guy of the two, and he wore Shabranskyy down and put the icing on the cake with another big right hand, and Shabranskyy just couldn't get away from his right hand. And I was surprised at Shabransky's speed in this fight. I just think that, Barrera looked like he was a step ahead. He actually looked like the quicker fighter. And going in, I didn't think that. I've seen Barrera against Ward, and Barrera looked slow in that fight, maybe because Ward is just such a quick fighter, himself. But in this fight, Barrera looked to be the faster of the two, and he looked to be, the guy with the better timing. He could see everything coming, whereas Shabranskyy couldn't really gauge Barrera's punches in this fight, couldn't time them, couldn't pick up on what Barrera was doing. And, he just couldn't get away from the right hand. And it was kind of shocking to me that Barrera was able to land that right hand so easily over and over again, consistently in this fight. And, that's his money punch. And if you allow him to throw that money punch and land it flush, it's going to be a short night for you. And that was the case with Shabranskyy in this fight.
There you go. How do you think? I was, on this fight, I tell you what, I was surprised. I mean, Shabranskyy was, the clear favorite. I think he was a house fighter coming in, but I had a feeling about Sullivan Barrera. I wasn't sure that he was going to beat him. I didn't think he was going to beat him, but Barrera's good. Barrera's a good fighter. Like I said, his only loss is to Andre Ward, who was arguably pound for pound the best guy out there, man. So I think this is a good win for him, man. Puts him right back on the map. That's for sure. For sure. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get back to the phones here. And 508, you are live.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the 4G.
What's up?
Your favorite your favorite fool.
From this
Going
day,
on. Hey,
you'll be my
listen.
new fool.
Listen, the amount of disrespect that I heard from you guys is unbelievable. After everything that the legend himself, Mr. Bernard Hopkins, have done for the sport, he tried to explain to you how he got pushed, and you really believe your lying eyes?
He was pushed.
I never laughed so much like yesterday. My God, that shit was crazy. Man, they calling the man from Beeb. He went to Beeb drop. I'm like, holy shit. He was talking. People was talking about call Trump to see if he can build a wall around the ring so you don't fall off, buddy. I'm like, there were so many jokes about this man. You can write a book, bro. Unbelievable. Nothing but fun.
Yeah.
And you know what? I never been more excited about a Beeb fight ever. Not even on the Trinidad shit. It's crazy. On his loss, he gives joy to so many people. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, man. I would like to talk about this the Povetkin dude. Beeb, you said that you're surprised. How could you be surprised? Who the hell in him? Who's not a junkie up in this bitch now? I mean, we know that the referee is the only one clean the whole thing. Because even the people, the judges, they high on crack. Don't they have somebody have fucking Beeb winning? Every week we got some type of judge that'll say, no, what they doing, man? Nothing new about that.
I was shocked. That somebody had Beeb winning that fight. I mean, I had it almost a shutout. Like I had a 69-64 at the time of the stoppage for Joe Smith. I mean, I'm watching. I'm looking at Letterman's card. I'm looking at cards online, seeing how everybody has a score like press row and stuff. And yeah, they all had it similar. Nobody had Hopkins winning that fight. No.
Hey, listen, we cannot get mad at Beeb because he want to fight and go to ringside at the same time, people. So let him watch his own fight from first row. Oh my God! You know who got great reflexes? The best guy with the reflexes on the fight was the cameraman. He got out of there so quick when he saw Beeb coming.
I thought that was the best part, that everybody just scattered. They didn't even make an effort to catch him. They just let him hit.
Oh God, that was so funny. I had so much fun yesterday, man. I was laughing until like 4 a.m, bro. Everybody making jokes about it, man. This was hilarious. You know why? The people start talking about rematch. A rematch, please.
No way.
No.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous, bro. Listen, let me give a shout out. I do Duhaupas. He went get his check. Can't hate on the man. Going to get his pay. Because, I mean, we know how shit gets done down Rush. I don't like to talk about people or a group of people because that's pretty much racism and shit. But we know how certain countries do shit. And, I mean, it is what it is. So, if Duhaupas went there. He got his paycheck. Hey, get your paycheck, baby. And it's the burn. If it's to bring it out of the fight, don't Esteban was popped like twice too?
Once.
So
yeah.
This is another junkie getting mad to another junkie?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Listen, man, I'm gonna let this be quick, because I know Corey's on the line, and I don't want no death threat. I know he be calling from the back of a cop car. So I'm gonna let you take care of him, okay, guys? Mad love, always supporting. Love you guys.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Man.
Thank you for calling, George. Thank you. Oh, that was cool. That was good stuff, guys.
Love
That's
it.
hilarious.
Love it. All right. Now, this is the moment that everyone's been waiting for. This is the moment one person in the chat has been calling for. Area code 804. 804. You are live
What's goody? It's Corey. What's poppin'? What's going on?
Hey, Corey, what's up, man?
I look at the chat. I'm looking at the chat while I'm doing the show. I'm trying to look at the live, look at what we're talking about. I glance over at the chat, says Corey's on hold. I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, I just started laughing. I'm like, get hold it in, man. I'm like.
So what's going on? How y'all been doing, man? How y'all weekend was?
Good,
hey,
man.
We're all good, man.
How about
We're
you?
all good.
So what'd you
good,
think
man.
of Hopkins?
You know,
I'm curious to see
my
what'd you think of Hopkins?
Hey, look, I'm doing good, man. Look, man, all I'm gonna tell y'all is, man, Bernard Hopkins, the alien, got crucified. Did any of y'all see the fight, man? This dude fell on his skull.
Yep, we watched the fight. He got the same treatment that Klitschko is going to get in April. That's what I'm going to look forward to.
The alien just got UFO'd.
Yeah.
But look, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, though, man. The fight to watch out for is the Garcia Thurman fight coming in March, man. I'm gonna tell y'all right now,
It's gonna
man.
be good.
That's one of the best fights coming out here today.
It's a good
And I
fight.
mean, I'm telling y'all right now, but I'm telling y'all, it's gonna be official. Like, that's one of the best fights coming out here. It should be on pay-per-view. It's on free TV. You can't even, you know what I mean? You can't even get past that fight. That's gonna be the best fight. I think that's gonna be fight of the year. But back to the fights this weekend, I think Music looked good on the Bernard Hopkins undercard. The little guy, he was like 5'7". He got a couple hits in. I mean, he won all that, but he got a couple hits in. Came from whatever, South Africa, whatever, got a couple hits in. I mean, I didn't know, Music could get hit that easy by, a guy, the Music trains with Lomachenko's dad. He gets trained by Lomachenko's dad from Ukraine. And a lot of people don't know about that.
People love that guy.
About that. But
they love that guy. Yeah.
And Chad, what I was gonna tell y'all is that I gotta run to the car real quick. Can y'all come back to me in like 5 minutes?
Sure.
But I've been on hold for a while. Can y'all just 5 minutes?
Yeah, we can do that, man.
Look, because
right.
I got to run in the car real quick.
Oh, it's all good, man. We'll come back. Yeah, we'll come back.
Yeah, we
back.
will.
Yeah.
We'll come back. Don't worry about it.
Corey, you're on hold. If you got it, you're on hold. So go to your car and then we'll come back to you. Somebody on chat said, you better shine, bro. Talking about Corey.
Oh, man.
They're killing it. 347, you're live. 347.
347, you're on the air.
All right, maybe they're just listening. It's all good. All good.
Okay.
All right. So I tell you what, let's do this. Let's go to the upcoming fights because I think we've gone through all of the other fights here. I forgot completely about the Sullivan Barrera fight. Completely forgot about that. And so, all right. So let's go. December 23rd, Robert. That's a Friday, yes?
That's a Friday, yep.
Awesome. All right. Arthur Beterbiev from Quebec, Canada. Arthur Beterbiev versus Isidro Renomi Prieto.
I don't know who that is.
Butcher that guy's name, and to him and his family, I apologize. But Beterbiev will be fighting. It doesn't look like a TV, like it'll be on TV, but I'm sure we can stream it. If you have Cody, you can probably stream it or you'll catch it online. I'm sure Davey Boy Essex might have that fight. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. Nothing much on that undercard, too. A lot of TBAs to be announced and no real name guys on that undercard. December 29th from Calgary, Canada, Logan McGuinness versus the dreaded TBA. Again, nothing there. But December 30th.
Okay.
We'll go here because and we'll talk about this here in a minute, but December 30th, we have Naoya Inoue versus Kaoini Kono, 12 rounds for Inoue's WBO junior bantamweight title. This one is one I want to see because Inoue, they're touting him to fight Chocolatito or Quadras, one of those. I think Quadras and Chocolatito are going to rematch next year early, but Inoue is the guy that they are targeting. And everybody said this guy is the truth. I know Cordy had talked about him too before, and everybody talks about this guy like he's the truth. I've seen him fight before. I want to see him fight again because he didn't really impress me too much his last fight, but last fight I saw him in anyway. So that's going to be in Tokyo. So we'll talk about the undercard of that one. There's nothing really going on. Akira Yageshi versus Witwas Basebon, 12 rounds for Yageshi's IBF Junior Flyweight title. So if you like the lighter weights in Tokyo on December 30th, that's for you. Again, you'll probably have to stream that or catch it somewhere else. And on December 31st from Japan, Japan always has fights on the new year. This is from BN Sports. Moises Fuentes versus Kosai Tanaka, 12 rounds for the vacant WBO Junior Flyweight title. And Robert, is BN Sports now your new favorite channel? Huh? Andres Bermudez, our new guy?
No, they don't. They don't.
Look at you. Why are you running?
They don't speak English.
Oh, Robert. Bieber, you listening to this? It's terrible. Terrible.
A lot of xenophobia on here tonight. A lot of xenophobia.
Oh, that's right. All right, so that's going to be on BN Sports, and that's pretty much it for the rest of the year. That pretty much rounds out the year of fighting until next year, and we'll talk about that. So we're going to be on hiatus, so to speak, for a couple of weeks because Christmas falls on, a Sunday, and then New Year's Day.
That's next Sunday.
Yeah, New Year's Day. Is it New Year's Day or New Year's Eve falls on a Sunday as well?
Yeah. No, New Year's Day.
New Year's Day falls on a Sunday. So I'm sure... Yeah. It's a disappointment to all of you because instead of opening presents and spending time with your family on Christmas, I know that you guys would rather be here with us. I understand that. And I understand rather than going out and partying on New Year's Day and everything like that, that you'd probably rather listen to us. I got it. But unfortunately, we won't be here either one of those days. What we're going to do is we're going to put together a year-end show, and it'll probably happen the week after Christmas. So like that between Christmas and New Year's, we'll put something together, have it on a weekday or something like that, and then that way you guys can listen to it or download it or whatever you guys want to do.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go. How nice of us, huh? Our fantasy fights will return next year. Don't worry about it. Nobody's forgotten about it. We've just had a lot to fill here. So also, too, the interviews. If you haven't gotten our interviews out there yet, we got Andres Bermudez. We have not Canelo Alvarez. We haven't got him yet. But we got Andres Bermudez, Vinny Paz, the Pazmanian Devil. We got him out there. And then we got Bobby Gunn, who's the bare knuckle champion of the world. He's going to be fighting Roy Jones. So there you go. And also, too, why is it important to listen to these interviews? Chavez versus Canelo, they're in negotiations now, and that was big news all this week. Do you know where we got that information from, Robert?
Your favorite station, BN Sports.
Andres Bermudez, the man, came on here and spilled it. My translator got that one right, didn't he? Andres Bermudez said right after that fight, Chavez and Canelo were going to fight. If Chavez wins, he's going to go after Canelo. What happened? That was the news. We broke it last week. We broke it before anybody. So there you go.
Now, Eric, he also said it was going to be in Mexico. So is that going to happen?
Well, I don't know if he said it was going to be he said it's a big fight in Mexico. He said it was a big fight in Mexico, and that it is.
Okay.
So, all right, let's move ahead to our news and rumors here. Let's do a couple of these, and then we'll go back to the lines here. All right, so Golovkin and Jacobs. Triple G versus Danny Jacobs is on for March 18th at Madison Square Garden on HBO pay-per-view. So the fight has been signed, sealed, and delivered. I really wish this went to purse bid, and I really wish that Heyman would have won this purse bid. If that was the case, the fight would be on Showtime and not pay-per-view. Robert, what do you think of this matchup?
Well, number one, with all the talk about the PBC supposedly having the so-called war chest, I'm really surprised that Al Heyman didn't make a better effort to win this pay-per-view. To win this fight purse bid. But it's on HBO pay-per-view, and if you're a true boxing fan, you've got to support a guy like Gennady Golovkin, because you will even if Golovkin ever loses, you won't see the display of lack of class like you saw last night. So if you're a true Triple G fan and you're a true boxing fan, You've got to support this fight. I don't like the fact that it's on pay-per-view, but at least it's not as bad as James Kirkland and Miguel Cotto. So make your choice. You want to pay for Cotto and Kirkland, or would you rather pay for Jacobs and Golovkin? I'm going to pay for Jacobs and Golovkin.
Absolutely. Now let's move on here. Beeb. It's time for the train wreck of the week.
Yes.
Number 2.
Part 2.
Perfect. That puts me in the right frame of mind. It's beautiful. Love it. Terrence Crawford has been sentenced to 90 days in jail for property damage and disorderly conduct. This stems from for the damage he did, him and his boys did at a body shop in Omaha, Nebraska. Now, the way it went down was the place wouldn't give him the car. He had his car in to get some work done. It was on a hydraulic lift, apparently. They didn't give him his car because he didn't pay him. And so they went in there by force, got the car off the lift, took it out of there, and did some damage, did a lot of damage and everything like that. The judge sentenced Crawford to 2 years probation and 100 also sentenced him to 2 years probation and 120 hours of community service. He's also ordered to pay $6,000 in restitution and random drug and alcohol test. Crawford will be eligible for early release in February. His lawyers were working to get him out ASAP, which they did. He's currently out on bail. Go figure that one out. If it's like you or I, we're staying in there. We're not getting out. There's no way our lawyers are getting us out. But whatever, he's out on bail for right now. I guess they're looking at his case again. I don't know if maybe it's an appeal. I don't know. But the judge did tell Crawford, you've continued to act like you are above the law, and you are not. It's expected that Crawford will spend about 53 days in jail, 53 of the 90. Everybody was talking about Crawford facing Brawner. Beeb, is there any chance that this fight with Brawner and Crawford actually takes place in a penitentiary?
Yeah, this should be the train wreck of the week title. Train wreck of the week title fight.
That's right.
Whoever wins gets the train wreck of the week title.
You remember that movie?
With a choo-choo train in the middle of it.
That's right. You remember that movie Penitentiary with who was in that? I can't remember who was in it. But yeah, wouldn't it be awesome if they like had that going on or like that? Yeah, too sweet.
Remember Too
Sweet? Too sweet.
Too sweet.
Or like that Undisputed movie where they had the two guys fighting in jail, you know?
Yeah.
So what it's going to be like Penitentiary, man. All right. And as Robert.
Too sweet. He
was the man, sweet. Boy. Too sweet. As Robert mentioned earlier, Canelo versus Chavez Jr. are in negotiations. Canelo and Julio Cesar Chavez are in negotiations to fight. This is the biggest fight right now in Mexico. It's also the biggest money fight in boxing next to Triple G versus Canelo. They're looking at a catch weight of 165, which is quite a jump for Canelo, man. He's usually at 155 or a Canelo weight 157, whatever he likes to call it. This is a little odd because, after all, he claimed that Triple G was too big at 160 a while ago. Chavez Jr. also has his own problems in negotiations. Chavez Sr. is claiming that they are offering crumbs to fight Canelo. Rumor has it that they've offered him $5 million to fight Canelo. If that's crumbs, sign me
Eric,
up, man. I'll tell you what.
Last time I heard, that's not crumbs.
Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly. And for all you British fans, you're going to love this. Chris Eubank Jr. has finally got his shot at the big time. He has been fighting top fighters in his division, and it finally paid off. Chris Eubank Jr. will get a shot at Ronald Quinlan for the illustrious IBO super middleweight title. Congrats, Chris. You've hit the big time. Instead of fighting Triple G for the undisputed championship of the world, he's chosen to fight for the IBO title. Well played, Chris. Absolutely. Beeb.
His dad is doing real good business for him, yeah.
Beeb, Chris Eubank is your boy. You're both from Britain. What do you make of this move?
Another head scratcher, man. I mean, do we in the UK have to continuously claim this man, Chris Eubank Jr.? This is like the black sheep of the family in the UK family of fighters here. Chris Eubank Jr. fighting for an IBO title, man. Instead of fighting Triple G for all the marbles at middleweight. I have like zero interest in this fight. I don't understand why he's doing it. That's like me fighting for the KB Toy and Hobby title. I mean, what does it mean? You know, what does it mean?
Hey, Beeb, which family tree would you rather be a part of? The Eubank Jr. tree or the Chavez tree?
The Chavez tree.
Chavez
because at
tree.
least my dad was a legend.
Yeah, right. They can live off that forever. He didn't even have to fight. They can live off that forever.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I'm going to take this one step further. I'm going to take this one step further. The fight, the Eubank fight, the Eubank Quinlan fight will be on pay-per-view in the UK. Pay-per-view. Pay-per-view.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Let that sink in for a minute. Let that sink in.
What is Sky Sports thinking there? I mean,
it's not going to be Sky Sports. It's some.
Fight gonna be on?
It's not Sky. It's something else.
Sky Sports.
It's like IKTV or something like that. I mean, somebody in the chat may know.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like IKTV or something like that. But they've never put on a pay-per-view before.
Davey Boy?
Yeah, he's not in the chat. He just
Boy?
texted me. He said he couldn't get in the chat.
Yeah, he said ITV. He just texted me on Facebook. It's ITV.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How big is this? How big is this, Davey Boy? How much is it going to cost? How many pounds? See if he gets back to me on this. He's usually good about that.
Yeah, Leslie Scott just said ITV. Yeah, and I mean, but the thing is, they've never, from what I read, they've never put on a pay-per-view before. It's going to be their first one and probably their last. So there it is, man.
Look, I know the UK people love their boxing. They're the best boxing fans in the world. I mean, with the way they support the sport. But how many UK people are actually going to spend their discretionary income on Chris Eubank Jr.?
Not
I
many.
asked Davey Boy how much it cost. You know what he said to me? You know what he said to me? He goes, "Who gives a fuck?"
Okay.
That's great. That's great.
That's hilarious. You just text me back. Who gives a fuck?
What do you think? I mean, let's go back to the Chavez thing for a minute here. What do you think? I mean, as far as Chavez-Canelo goes, am I right in saying that that's the biggest fight to make right now? Aside from the Triple G Canelo fight, the Chavez-Canelo is the biggest fight to make right now? I don't think without question, right? I mean, who's bigger? Who's bigger?
As much as I'd hate to admit it, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I would be more excited about this if I knew that Junior was actually taking his career seriously, but he's had so many missteps. Which Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is actually going to show up in the ring? That's what I'm concerned with. Do I want to pay for a pay-per-view when I'm not sure what kind of guy is going to show up in the ring?
Yeah, I don't know, but he's working with Heredia now. I mean, that's the thing. He's working with Heredia now.
That's all kinds of red flags.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he came in the lightest he's ever weighed for a fight in like years. Yeah, exactly.
Can you say diuretics?
Can you say failed drug test?
He's on the Povetkin diet. He's on that Povetkin diet.
Can you say clenbuterol?
Yeah, really.
And Three Blind Mice just tweeted me from Twitter, and I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. That's Jimmy from, I think, Jimmy's Corner. So appreciate that. Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you very much for the compliment. All right, so before we go on our next story, hopefully Corey is back from his car right now. He's been saying Corey's on hold, Corey's ready all through the chat. So without any further ado, let's get Corey. You have the floor.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we can.
Hey, man, listen, man. Povetkin needs to be banned for life by the WBC.
Not going to happen.
He needs to be banned forever, permanently by everybody.
Hold on. Let me finish. It's unheard of
that this guy gets chance after chance after chance. First, Deontay Wilder was supposed to fight him. He flew all the way to fucking Russia in the fucking cold in the summertime, and he fucking flew out there to fucking fight him. Came back the same way that Bermain Severn came back, unimpressed and fucking untouched. They both came back. Deontay Wilder and Bermain Severn got something in common. They both went to fight Povetkin and came back untouched. These are fucking products of his environment. And it's fucking horrible.
I'm telling you what, though.
Russian athletics are so they got. Listen, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something to watch out for about the Russian athletics. You need to watch out for the Andre Ward Kovalev fight, because they got Kovalev over there doing that, trying to figure out how to make him stronger. Kathy Duhaupas said that in the interview, and fucking and his trainer, Kovalev's trainer, said he's out in Russia too, trying to make him stronger. So I'm gonna tell you right now that it could get ugly. I'm gonna tell you right now it could get fucking ugly, because if Kovalev tests positive for the rematch, his career is damn near over, because one, Andre Ward ain't gonna fight him drugged up, and two, he might not even fight him now because he's talking about a retirement. You know what I mean? It's crazy as shit. As crazy as it sounds, you know what I mean, that this shit can happen, but it can fucking happen. You know what I mean? Like, it can really fucking happen. You know what I mean? Like, this shit is just so fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it's so crazy that this drugs and shit like that, these performance enhancements, are taking over not only our sport, but the UFC is affected by it too.
I agree, but I still don't think that. I think that Rubinsky is going to have a hand in this. I think he had a hand in the last one. I don't know how he tests positive for the same thing and is going to come back. Like I said, man, I think the same thing that happened last time is going to happen this time. He may get a stiffer, more than a slap on the wrist or something like that, but I still think he's in contention after this. I don't think anything changes.
You think so?
I absolutely think so. I mean, think about it. The same thing happened with Wilder. I mean, the exact same thing.
I'm going to tell y'all right now that not only did Povetkin fuck up his chances to get another world title fight, but he fucked up his chances to fucking even be the interim champion. I think they're going to strip him. I don't think there's enough money in the world. You know what I mean?
Well, he was fighting. He was fighting for the interim. I don't know, man. I tell you, and think about what you just said. Think about what you just said for a minute here. He messed up his chance with Wilder. He messed up his chance to fight again for the interim belt, the heavyweight championship. How many people even get that opportunity? How many people even get that opportunity?
I'll be running for a little.
Doesn't make any sense, man.
Not a lot. Not a lot get that opportunity, but I'm going to say, all right, bro, I got you. I'm going to tell you right now that fucking at the end of the day, Povetkin it's so crazy that he still sold out to a fucking arena, and he fought a guy that's pretty known. I think the same guy fought Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
But it's so fucked up that the guy had to take a fucking 13-hour notice to fight fucking Povetkin.
How difficult is that?
That's fucking horrible.
Right.
He not only put himself that guy, the challenger that fought him, not only did he put himself in harm's way, he put his fucking life on the line, because he was fighting a guy that was going to probably beat him natural. Not only did he fight a guy that was going to probably beat him natural, he fought a guy that was juiced up.
Yeah.
Knowingly fought a guy that juiced up. That should be the center of this today's show. The guy that fought Povetkin this weekend should be the center of today's show, because not only did he fight a guy that he was gonna probably lose to, given all odds to fucking Povetkin,
He fought a guy on 13-hour notice and was juiced up. All those factors got to be in play because this dude's life is on the line. Boxing is a brutal sport. And he got knocked out brutally, if y'all seen the fight.
Yeah, he sure did. He was out. He was out cold.
He didn't take no fucking dive. It wasn't a fight where he took a dive. You know what I mean? And you can say whatever you want in the chat about me. Corey knows his boxing. I'm coming to give you boxing knowledge. I'm not coming to give you anything else. I don't give a fuck what football team won. I love Miami. We fucking won. We're in the playoff hunt. You know what I mean? Kids, close your ears and your eyes. All you fucking haters, you can suck a dick. But I'm gonna tell you right now, the guy that was fighting Povetkin should be honorable because Povetkin, soon as Bermain Severn heard that he failed the drug test, he was on the next flight smoking. He didn't even give it two. They said he didn't even give it 2 ounces of assault. He didn't even give it 2. Like he didn't even think about it twice. He was gone. It was a done deal. He was already on the next flight out.
I don't blame him.
Do you blame him?
Nope. Nope. I don't blame him at all. I would have done the same thing. And again, I blame the commission out of all this, out of the Russian commission, for letting this fight go on. I understand why Robansky, the promoter, wants the fight to go on. He's going to lose a ton of money. But the WBC said, no, we're out. We're not going to sanction it.
He's a millionaire.
Right.
He's a millionaire.
And but the commission, that's where I think the fault ultimately lies.
Because he's a millionaire.
Yeah. The fault ultimately lies with that commission because they should have stepped in and said, yeah, this guy can't fight, man. He's dirty. He's failed his drug test. That should be it, man.
But you know what? This is what I've been screaming. This is what I've been screaming since before y'all show started. Because I was on one of the first shows when y'all show started.
Yeah.
This is what I've been screaming before it started. That on another show that I was on as well. And I'm not gonna name any names, but I'm gonna tell you right now, this is what I've been screaming on more than one show. That for a lot of people to call in and say that, you know what I mean, why isn't this guy fighting this guy? Why isn't this guy fighting this guy? Why isn't, he's scared? Oh, he's scared. Don't ever judge a boxer's character by what you see, because boxing is a business. First and foremost, boxing is a business, and this is what you all need to hear. All you listeners need to hear this, because Corey is talking the truth right now. Boxing is a business because there's no way, shape, or form that fight should have went on in Russia. That fight, Povetkin shouldn't even fought anybody. He's a known drug user and he's a second offender. There's no way, if this was in the USA, that's why a lot of you fucking Americans need to be proud that you're in America, because that shit would have never happened in America. Not only would the sanctioning bodies not allow it, the commission wouldn't allow it.
Right.
There's a difference. For you motherfuckers that think you know about boxing, I just dropped a lot of knowledge on you. You need to look that shit up. Because the sanction and the commission are two totally different atmospheres. They're two totally different. That's like Pluto and Mars. They're two totally different worlds. One of them has their due diligence to do, and the other one has their thing to do. You know what I mean? And what it is boxing is a business, so I'm pretty sure that Povetkin's billionaire promoter paid somebody off to still do the fight. He might have lost money. The crowd was packed, and everybody was still rooting for Povetkin, but that just goes to show you how fucking hard that Russians go for their sport. He's a known drug user. That's just like it. Just imagine, y'all. Just imagine this for 1 second. Just fathom this one fact. Deontay Wilder, okay, not being stripped, but just not fighting for the world title. Pretty much what Povetkin did. The exact same thing Povetkin did. Just say this shit was in the U.S. Just say for one, just say he failed the drug test. Just say for one glimpse that the fight still went on. He fought another guy, a no-name guy, and the fight went on. Do you think for 1 second in America that they'll be rooting for fucking Deontay Wilder to win against a nobody? He could be Joe Schmo with 13 losses. Do you think they would root after knowing that he failed a known banned substance? The last time he failed a banned substance, the substance that he failed last time was good because he had something to stand on. He had something to stand on because that the supplement that Povetkin failed at first was actually you could take it like about a couple months before they tested him and he failed it. You know what I mean? That he could actually take that substance. So it was like he had a foot to stand on. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, we didn't know that this substance was banned. You know what I mean? We didn't know the first time this happened. The second time Povetkin did it, he did it with a known substance, and he failed at the fucking weigh-ins, pretty much. Right after the weigh-ins, they tested him, and he failed it. And what it is just imagine Deontay Wilder going through all the processes and failing his drug test right after the weigh-in. Do you think that fucking fight will go on in America, in Alabama?
No.
See, now when Corey drops knowledge, all three of the panels are dead serious now. It went from joking to somebody's life being on line. Somebody's life is actually being on the line when Povetkin stepped into that ring. I'm telling y'all that right now, man. Would y'all fight? I don't care how much they paid that guy to fucking step in the ring. Would y'all fight a guy knowing that he's juiced up? Not only would y'all put a pair of boxing gloves on, but would y'all knowingly go in the fight knowing he's juiced up?
Nope.
That's one out of the three panels. What's the other two got to say?
No, I mean, I
probably would not.
I definitely wouldn't. Like I said, I mean, I said Stavern did the right thing.
You probably wouldn't. You probably wouldn't, or you wouldn't.
I probably would not.
Well, I tell you what, you got to think about this. You have to think about this now. It's not just that cut and dry. It may be that cut and dry for you, but the thing is that some of these guys have to fight. Look at Johan Duhaupas, who had 13 hours notice, knowing that he was going to get in there and fight a dirty fighter. You know what I mean? A guy who's using PEDs. He knew this. Why did he take this? He apparently had a fight in January lined up, or January, February lined up, maybe possibly or whatever. But he took the payday because he was going to get a monster amount of money, and it's not cut and dry. Listen, look, Tommy Morrison, when he got tested positive for HIV, people still fought him. He still fought after that diagnosis because people need money. It's not just that cut and dry, man, that you can't just say, well, like I said, I think Stavern did the right thing. Stavern did the right thing because Stavern has a career. Yeah. He's got a career. Duhaupas has got nothing in front of him. He doesn't,
but he's okay. But he's okay. He can fight again.
Right.
He has money. He has money. He accrued money. I'm telling you, for the fighter that hasn't accrued money, and for the fighter that doesn't have a foot to stand on, had to take the fight. That's what I was saying.
Right. Absolutely, man.
He had to take the fight because of probably financial reasons.
Yeah. And I can't even fathom how much money he got paid for that, because I know he got paid well, I'm sure. Still probably not as much as Povetkin, but he got paid quite a bit to save the card. Definitely probably double what he was going to make fighting whoever he was going to fight, so it's definitely, it's sad to see. I don't like seeing it. And I hate that fight went on. I hate that fight even came off. It makes you sick, All right, Corey, we're going to go ahead and go ahead.
I wasn't trying to just talk about that. All I was trying to say is, I wasn't trying to just talk about that, but I wanted that to be known. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man.
I wasn't feeling that. I wasn't feeling what happened. You know what I mean? I wasn't trying to, stir up the show or anything, but
no, not at all.
I just wasn't feeling the whole thing about the whole Povetkin situation, because I think, you know what I mean, it's fucked up how he can get away. Excuse my language. It's fucked up how he can get away with, you know what I mean, getting by with that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't think in America they'll let people out in America get away with that, but
they're in another country.
Well,
you know what I mean? And
if you need to ask yourself that, just ask
country.
yourself, look at like the way Hopkins the way Hopkins behaved after the fight last night, the way he behaved after the fight. Think about that, and think about how now people view him now, and about how there's a lot of like backlash against him about the way he was acting like such a baby after that fight. So let's say Deontay Wilder does the same thing.
Let me tell you.
But hang on. Let me finish this point.
Let me tell y'all something.
If Deontay Wilder took drugs and did the same thing as Povetkin, he would be crucified here. I mean, he would have nobody behind him. Nobody. So, yeah, I mean, to your point, yeah, I mean, it's just beyond me that they stand behind Povetkin. And if they did it here, I don't think that Wilder or they wouldn't have any fans after that. They wouldn't have any support at all after that. So go ahead, finish your point. I'm sorry.
So look, all I was trying to say to y'all is that, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm here, but then again, I'm just trying to figure out what's the next move going to be? You know what I mean? Like, what's the next move going to be in all of this? You know what I mean? Like, what's the next move on, Povetkin? What's the next move on Deontay Wilder? He's got to fight mandatories. I mean, who's his mandatory now? You know what I mean? It went from Povetkin to, what is it? Is it going to, maybe if the WBC drops, you know what I mean, Povetkin, is it going to be Stavern again?
That's what they're going to sue for.
I'm not going to that again.
That's what they're suing for. That's what Don King is going to sue for.
What I'm seeing is Joseph Parker wants to fight him right away. Joseph Parker's called him out when he won. He won the first world title of his life, and he called him out. He called Deontay Wilder out. That takes balls.
Yeah,
that's balls.
I agree, but he's also a big payday.
And to be honest,
I mean, that's a big payday. I mean, think about Joseph Parker's options. He doesn't have a whole lot of options out there. Anthony Joshua's not on the horizon for him. So, of course, he's going to call out Wilder. It's a huge payday. And why not? I mean, why not take that fight? I mean, you got a puncher's chance. I don't think he can outbox Wilder, but he's definitely got a puncher's chance. He's got some heavy hands, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, and this is what I wanted to tell y'all, though, you know what I mean? But after all the heavyweights, you know what I mean? After all the smoke clears in the heavyweights, who do y'all personally think is going to be the lineal champion?
Joshua.
My personal opinion, and I mean, this might be a far shot, but my personal opinion is going to be David Haye. That's just my
it'll be Anthony Joshua.
Anthony Joshua by a mile. Hey, I don't even know that Hayes going to get past Bellew. I'm telling you right now, I don't think Hayes going to get past Bellew.
I think Tony knows that.
I'm gonna let you know this right now, and I'm willing to take a pop bet, and I'm willing to take money bet or anything. I want to take any kind of bet, but I'm telling you right now that fucking David Haye is gonna punish Tony Bellew. Like, he might even knock him into a coma, and I don't wish death upon anybody. He's gonna punish this guy. You have no idea what this dude David Haye is gonna do. You might think that Bernard Hopkins got, tossed through the ring and all of that. But I'm gonna tell you right now, this is gonna be 10 times as worse. This is gonna be a bloody mess, if not knocked out unconsciously.
I'll tell you what, when that fight gets closer, when that fight gets closer, because I want to see what training camps go, and I want to see what kind of shape they're in and everything like that. When that fight gets closer, I'll still take Bellew on that fight. I will absolutely take Bellew on that fight.
And I'm telling you right
90 seconds.
Listen, and I'm telling you right now, you've got to do one of the most extreme bets that we've ever had on this show's history. We're gonna come up with something crazy, but me and you are gonna bet something crazy.
We'll definitely come up with something crazy. No question. We'll do something crazy.
Y'all have a good show, all right? Y'all have a good show, all right?
All right, man. Thanks for calling, buddy.
Good.
All right, man.
All right, y'all. All right.
Corey.
60 seconds.
Good deal, man. All right. Jeff Cotto is holding. Let's see here. 917.
Oh, Jay Cotto.
I'm sorry. Jay Cotto, 917. You're on.
Hey, what's up, fellas? What's going on, man?
What's up, man?
Hey, not much.
What's up, brother?
Nothing, man. Just watching the wonderful show as always, and I just figured I'd call in, man, because couple of subjects that you guys hit that are just bothering me. First of all, just want to say Povetkin should get the death sentence. They need to take him out of boxing because he's going to wind up killing somebody, man.
Yeah,
the same way they
out of boxing, out of all the organizations, out of everything, permanently.
Yep, definitely. Simply because, the same way Al Heyman is putting up world-class fighters.
10 seconds.
Number 47, 77 green-eared fighters, somebody's going to die behind that shit too. So they really need to stop this shit and look at the safety of the boxers, man. My hat goes off to Duhaupas, you know what I'm saying, for stepping up. And at least, going on with the show. It's a bit dangerous, a bit dumb, but he did what he did. He did what he did. I personally also agree with Eric. It had to be with the, with the payday, of course. So I guess he took it, but I hope he's all right. And David Hay, to me, I don't feel anybody should respect him because he ain't fight the big man. He ain't fight Briggs. He made Briggs go through two tasks, and he flied with passing. I mean, he passed with flying colors, and all of a sudden, he had to chase him through the Barclays, and now, like, he almost smacked him in his face last Saturday. So it's like, hey, for me, is off the table. He can be a ladder climbing son of a bitch for the rest of his career. He's not giving us anything that we want. You know what I mean? He's just one of those fighters that are,
You know what? Let me jump in here. Not only that, he's going to go fight a cruiserweight. That's how tough this guy is. He's going to go fight a cruiserweight. Shannon Briggs called this guy out, and that would have been a good fight for Hay because I think he would have beat Briggs. I think that's a good fight for Hay, at least a good step fight for him.
Exactly. The WBA was up for grabs as well, and he turned that down.
And he turns it down to fight Bellew, the cruiserweight. Get out of here! Come on, man. I think Bellew's going to get him.
I'll tell you one thing. Yeah, definitely, man. And I just feel that David Hay, on my behalf, David Hay can't be respected, man. We can't respect somebody like that. And if he loses to Bellew, he could forget about it. He's never getting respect from nobody. I mean,
Tony's a good fighter, right? That would not surprise me at all. That would not surprise me at all.
Yeah, exactly. And this deal with the Canelo and Chavez Jr., I've been saying this for about maybe almost a month now on my channel through my videos. And I just wanna tell a certain uploader, haha, I told you so, because he couldn't believe it. He's a Canelo fan. No, there's no way that he would duck, a Triple G to fight somebody heavier. Well, boom. Bam, in your fucking face. You know what I'm saying? This goes to show you that it had nothing to do with anything but money. You know what I mean? And like I said before, the difference between a legacy fighter and a prize fighter, and we all know that boxing is a business, but at the same time, let's be real, gentlemen. They throw gloves on because they want to be like the best, right? So that shit where boxing is a business, we understand all of that. But now when you claim and you walk around and say it's a hurt business and we don't fuck around and all this shit, and then look what you're doing. You're going to fight an inactive, and I don't give a shit who Chavez Jr. just fought recently. I'm going to continue to say an inactive Chavez Jr. You're going to fight him, but you won't go 5 more pounds from your Canelo division, 155, and fight fucking a unified middleweight champion at 160? So you're going to kill yourself 10 pounds more? Makes no sense to me, gentlemen. I mean, am I in the fucking Twilight Zone here? Am I not making sense here?
No, you're not, because look, let's face it, Julio Cesar Chavez hasn't taken a fight seriously in I don't know how many years. This is it's a fucking cakewalk that he's gonna do.
Exactly.
And that is supposed to prepare him for the best fighter on the planet. Get the fuck out of here with that.
Exactly, Robbie. Robbie, I totally fucking agree with you, man. 2 thumbs up, man. I'm serious, guys. Like, all right, Beebs, Eric, check this shit out, man. Right? You got an option. Fight a legend's son, who the legend already denounced him and told him he should just give up his fucking boxing career because he's a pothead, or try to fight the best fighter in the fucking world and take his unified titles. Which one would you guys go for?
I'd still take Junior. It's the biggest fight, man. You got to think about it like that. I mean, we want to see him and Triple G. I got it, man. But look, man, that is the biggest fight.
The
biggest. It is the biggest fight in Mexico.
You think
so? It is, man. Give me a bigger fight. Give me a bigger fight. Aside from Canelo and Triple G, give me a bigger fight than Canelo and Chavez Jr. right now.
I'll give you a fight that Oscar De La Hoya actually mentioned that would be great to make at 160. You ready? And this is verbatim, Oscar De La Hoya. Canelo Alvarez versus Conor McGregor. Get the fuck out of here. And that's to him, to Golden Boy, that's the best fight right now at 160 instead of Gennady Golovkin. Are you kidding me?
Dana White won't allow it. Dana White won't allow it. He already said so.
Hey,
this is what I'm saying now.
Hey, Jay,
now,
just real quick. Let me jump in here real
Jr.
quick.
Was active.
Hey, Jay, real quick.
Yeah,
what is your YouTube show? What's your the Haymanites want to know your YouTube show? I just got a tweet. What?
Oh, mine is Jeff. Mine is Jeff Cotto. My tweet is Dean Brolic, BROLIC 1013. I'm on YouTube as Jeff Cotto, COTTO, and I represent a movement in boxing called #ComeBackToBoxing, and we're all about telling the truth in the sport. So this is why I speak the way I do.
Are you on Twitter? Do you follow?
boxing
Do you
for a
follow
long
me on
time,
Twitter?
my brother.
Follow me on Twitter and send me your link, and I'll go ahead and retweet it.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just to the point, guys, that you know, I'm just uncomfortable with what's going on with these matchmakers over here. Like, I just don't understand this. You know what I mean? You know, to me, if Chavez Jr. was more active and was fighting somebody, you know, then that would be worth something. But come on, we all know that Chavez Jr. is I mean, he's a joke. He's a joke, guys.
That's not the point, though. I mean, we know it's a stiff
like
fight. I mean, we know it's a stiff fight. But I mean, again, who can we draw more money with? I mean, we can't unless you're going to put McGregor in there, which he's under contract, and that's a crazy fight.
Well,
you know,
well, we can.
But you know, who can we make more money with?
We can. Yeah, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
No, you're right. I mean, but McGregor makes more money with anybody. You know, if we you know play this role here and say, what about Conor McGregor from the UFC? If he comes in and we have this sideshow fight, yeah, I mean that's an event. That's an attraction. He makes more money. That's the biggest money fight out there to be made. But realistically, that can't happen because he's under contract. So realistically, what's a bigger fight aside from Triple G and Canelo than Chavez Jr. and Triple G? There's none.
It should have been Daniel Jacobs. It should have been Daniel Jacobs. And I bet you, and I bet you, the buys for this for that fight is going to go over 200,000, most definitely.
For Triple G and Jacobs.
Definitely. And
no,
no
way.
Definitely.
Andre Ward. What was the buy rate on the Ward Kovalev fight?
Everybody's been noticing. Yeah, everybody's been noticing this. This is going to be Triple G's first opponent who has the punching power and the tools to stop him, man. I mean, we can't fall asleep on Jacobs' punching power. Now that Pirog loss, how long ago was that? Let's take that off the table. You know what I mean? You know, not only that, he stopped the pound for pound Daniel, Peter Quillen. So you also got to understand that Daniel Jacobs, you know, is also hungry. I guess he wanted his numbers right. He finally got it. And I just feel that this right here is going to be baptism under fire for both gentlemen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No question.
This is going to be a good fight. And if Jacobs wins, oh, man, that's going to be a lot of money for Canelo there.
No question that Jacobs and Triple G is the better fight. No question. It's competitive. Jacobs has a chance here. Jacobs has a good chance. That's not just a walkover. But again, I don't think it generates revenue-wise. It doesn't generate anywhere near with pay-per-view and everything like that. Doesn't generate anywhere near what Canelo is going to make with the Chavez Jr. if that fight comes off. And somebody in the chat has mentioned Joshua Klitschko and 90,000 tickets and 50 million and everything, but you're talking about live gate. You're not talking about pay-per-view revenue. I don't know. That's a money fight right there too.
Remember, as far as that fight's concerned, Eric, the UK will have to pay for it. That's pay-per-view over there.
Yeah.
Over here, it'll either be on HBO or Showtime.
Yeah, nobody's paying for that fight over here.
Yeah.
It's just a UK generated revenue system. Whereas this one is going to be in the United States, which, you know, we're going to get a lot more pay-per-view generated. So I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. It's only going to be on pay-per-view. Yeah. Pay-per-view is going to be sky high, but again, it's only going to be in the UK. So yeah, I mean, but I think that, you know, because Canelo generates a lot of pay-per-view. I mean, still, even now, even with pay-per-view on the downslide, he generates a lot, man. So,
and unfortunately, whether you like it or not, and I don't, but the Chavez name still generates a lot of money too. So
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I'll tell you, I don't hate that
that's
fight.
without a
I
question.
mean, that's the thing. I don't hate that fight either. I don't hate the Chavez and Canelo fight, man. I think that's an interesting dynamic there with him coming up. You're going to have to come up about 10 pounds of what you're normally coming up at. So he's going to come up, and Chavez Jr., you know, I mean, he's a big guy. I mean, say what you want, but I've seen pictures of those two side by side. He is substantially bigger than Canelo.
Oh, he's big. That's
and
a
he
big
can
boy.
fight.
No, that's a big boy.
I mean,
that's
he
a
can
big
fight.
Boy.
It's not like he sucks. He can fight, man.
I just feel that his pedigree is tarnished for all the time off and not fighting as well.
Sure.
So it's not going to be much of a competitive fight. He's going to be too slow for Canelo. That's what I see.
The problem I have, like I said a few minutes ago, how do we take this dude seriously? Because he's bailed out of so many fights. He doesn't make weight. He doesn't take his career seriously. How are you going to convince the people of the United States who follow this sport to actually pay for it? Because one of the guys may not take it seriously. That's what I'm worried about.
They're talking about putting that fight in Cowboy Stadium. They're talking about putting that fight in Cowboy Stadium, where the Canelo Kirkland fight took place and everything like that. They're talking about putting that fight in the stadium. And Canelo's last fight took place there also. I think, didn't it? It didn't. His last fight was in Jerry.
Yeah, it did. 51,000.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, think about that. And refresh my, who did he fight? Who was his last? I can't remember right offhand.
Liam Smith.
Smith. That's right.
Liam Smith.
Right. The UK guy. That's for Liam Smith. 51,000 for Liam Smith. What's he going to do when you get Chavez Jr., another name in there? A big Mexican name?
That'll be 100,000 easy.
Yeah. I mean,
I just want to ask you guys, how do you feel about Canelo still being considered what was it, the IBF middleweight champion, right? Some shit like that, right? And he's ranked at 155. He's campaigning at 155, and they still have him as a middleweight champion. How do you guys feel about that?
No, he's not. He's not. The WBC is Triple G. WBC, WBA, IBF, they're all Triple G. Danny Jacobs has got the regular WBA belt, whatever that means. And then Billy Joe Saunders, of course, he's got the WBO. So yeah, he does not hold a title. He may hold the Ring Magazine title. He might be the lineal at 160 with the Ring Magazine, which I think is nonsense.
Because Oscar owns that.
Yeah, Oscar owns the magazine. So, that's just nonsense. Let me look that up here. I wonder.
You see how fucking foolish this conversation has become because of these fucking politics. You see this shit? You see this? Guys, this is exactly what I'm talking about, guys. This is exactly why I'm saying these things. It's fucking ridiculous. Now, Saunders for me is out of the fucking picture. This guy should have look, the moment Triple G said, yo, let's grab you. Let's go. He shouldn't have played cover girl or diva and try to go for money he's not worth. That right there was
Fuck, he was offered what, $4, $5, $6 million, and he said no. What the hell's wrong with you?
Exactly. And a lot of these fighters of today don't see that shit. They're happy with $500,000, like, you know what I mean? And they're throwing it at strippers and shit. So $5 million, shit, man. How many? You know what I mean? Like, come on, guys. You know, it is what it is, though. But I just gotta say, along with this Hopkins bid as well. Hopkins, it's pride, man. It's the pride. You know what I mean? You could see it clearly yesterday. The pride, it was the pride that had him upset. He got mad, because of the way he lost. He got knocked the fuck out the ring.
Yeah.
You was holding the back of your head, but then you sat down and said something about your knee. So which one is it? Your head or your back or your knee? Like, which fucking one is it? So, it was just the pride, man. The fighter's pride. And that's what got Bernard Hopkins at the end there. You know what I mean? He lost. I don't think a rematch should be suitable for him because I noticed the same thing Roy Jones noticed. His legs are gone.
Yeah, you could tell.
And yeah, definitely. His legs are gone. And he's already 51. I mean, you gave us great fights. This was the only knockout you suffered during, your Geritol fucking tour. You know what I mean? We understand it. But at the same time, dude, we don't want to see you catch any more damage. We don't want you to tarnish your legacy like Roy Jones Jr. is doing. We don't want you to do that. You know what I mean? Just step off. That's it. It is what it is. But I'm more than sure he'll come to grips with it down the road. But he shouldn't go for a rematch. I don't think he should do that shit again.
No way, man. You get knocked out
He's
again.
Done.
He's done.
No way.
Can't move. He should go back and watch his tape over and over again, because if he thinks he's the same fighter as he was even a couple years ago, he's wrong. So, and again, I mean, it's not like Joe Smith sucks. I mean, he's a good fighter. Man. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You can't be that inactive and be 52 and come back in there and think you're going to do something against this young kid, man. Don't work that way.
Right. Right. Oh, definitely, man. Now, have you guys noticed, like, with this, you know, Povetkin situation, it's funny on how he's always coming up dirty when it comes to title shots.
Two so far now.
You guys noticed this, right?
Two.
Exactly.
Yeah, two in a row, man. That's a bad sign.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. And it's funny on how he keeps getting off the hook with that, right? Before it was 0.7 grams of meldonium, which was nothing. Now it's fucking whatever the fuck it is now. You know, and Ostarine, yeah. So it's like, what's next? Anabolic, actual fucking steroids? Like, come on, dudes. Like, you know, that shit that someone said before about Kovalev, and no, Kovalev does more of his workouts and more of his in the States. You know what I mean? He's more, because, you know, that's where his trainers are and his promoter. They're here. But I don't think Kovalev is cheating. I think these are just detractors that are just saying this so that way Andre Ward won't have to fight him. You know what I mean? I knew it was going to come up by somebody. I knew that was going to get thrown into, you know what I mean? And regardless, that he has to fight him. That shit with Andre Ward retiring, he could put that shit in the back pocket. The fight fans are not going to allow him to retire. Because if he does, then we're going to call him chicken shit. We're going to call it exactly what it is. Because you're supposed to give this champ his fucking rematch. I mean, come on. Especially, and this goes out to his fans. All the questions. This goes out to his fucking fans. You're happy with a close decision win on your champ? Wouldn't you guys want him to solidify his win on a rematch? I mean, if that was my fighting champion, I'd be like, listen, champ, not for nothing. This one was close. You need to shut people up getting there again, right? But what's going on now? What's going on? This is the take it and run situation. You know what I mean? He knows he fucking lost it, but since they gave it to him, that's it, and I'm retiring. And what are you going to do? What exactly are you going to do?
I think he's holding out.
You feel what I'm saying? So
yeah, he's holding out for more money is what I'm hearing. Is that, you know, he's talking about, you know, he wants to get paid like a champ now and everything. He's holding out for more money. And because that's the biggest, I mean, let's be honest, man, that's the biggest money fight in the division. That's the biggest money fight he's going to make. I mean, nobody is pounding down the pay-per-view door to watch Andre Ward fight. It's just not happening. And that's the biggest fight right now for him to make. And the most money that can be made is that Kovalev rematch. That rematch will happen.
Yep. And on a last note, I just want to say, on behalf of a certain gentleman who campaigns, you know what I'm saying, at 160, who's not getting a fair shot, or should I say campaigns at 154, he's not getting his fair shot. He's ranked number 1 in WBC, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the WBA, he's ranked number 2. This gentleman goes by the name of Demetrius Andrade or Andrade. This man deserves, to go up against one of the Charles or both of them or anybody out there that's holding straps. This man has been calling guys out for 3 years. I don't want to hear anything about his management fucked up. He pulls out a purse bids, because if you're going to go there on the business aspect of boxing, then how is it that, you know, you guys, and I'm not talking to the panel, I'm talking to every fight fan that always with the, you know, that become political fans all of a sudden and lawyers. Like, how is it that your fighter could ask for more money and pull out, but now this gentleman here had pulled out of a bullshit Laura fight that we're going to give him low amounts of money for? I mean, you know, is it boxing a business, right? So then how is it that this does not follow up on Demetrius Andrade, okay? Demetrius Andrade needs to be pushed more, okay? Enough of these Heyman fighters, because these Heyman fighters, you're pushing them, but at the same time, they're giving us lackluster matches, okay? There's only a very few that are giving us good matches, okay? So I feel that Demetrius Andrade or Andre should get his fair share, okay? And he should be fighting either of the Charlos, both of the Charlos, or anybody at 154, because he is the truth. And everybody is ducking him. I'm not sure if you guys are paying attention to him.
Yeah, I do have some news for you, though. I do have some good news for you. Demetrius Andrade is going to fight Jack Coquet, who's the WBA regular champion. And he's going to fight him. The purse bid just went out. for the WBA, and I think it was he's gonna fight overseas. I think he's gonna fight in Germany. I'm not 100% sure where it was, can't remember, but it's gonna be overseas. So he will get the shot at the WBA belt, which makes him the mandatory. They've got Arislandi Lara as the real world champion, or they're a super champion or whatever they want to call it today. So once he wins that, he will be the mandatory for Arislandi Lara's super championship or whatever. But he'll be the WBA champion at that point. Then, to me, that's the time to start negotiating with one of the Charlos, because at that point, you have a belt that's a unification. There's a lot more money on the table. They're both Heyman fighters. Andrade's a Heyman fighter, yeah? That's right?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
No, he isn't. No, he isn't. No.
Okay.
No.
He's with the Claudia. He's with the Claudia.
Exactly. Right.
Oh, he's a Star Boxing.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
See, and this is exactly what makes my fucking ball swell. That you have a lot of these fighters out here that have been calling these guys out, but it's muffled by certain boxing medias. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then when it comes to the surface, everybody's like, wait a minute. I didn't hear this. Of course you didn't, because you're not doing research, man. There are so many killers out there right now, 154, that they're just being overshadowed by this mainstream boxing. And mainstream boxing is basically WWE shit. It sucks. They've even taken away the tradition of the whole fight team walking down with the fighter. Now he meets him at the end of the ring with a big Titantron in the back. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
Well, in fairness,
so this is exactly what I'm saying.
That's what they do that's what they do overseas in London and stuff like that. In the UK, that's how they kind of build their guys now. Is if you watch it, they all meet the guys at the bottom of the ramp or in the ring or something like that. That's like a showman type thing that's been making the rounds in boxing. Yeah, I'm not crazy about what the PBC does either. But yeah, it's like a showman type thing, like a WWE thing. I'm not crazy about it though.
And for the Heyman, for the Heyman fighters, the PBC, crowd that's out there that admires Heyman for what he's done. Listen, I'm glad he's a black man who's actually going forward in the sport and doing what he's doing. But mark my words, okay? Because it has already been exampled by Don King, by Bob Arum, Oscar De La Hoya, Kathy Duva. I mean, we can go on and on. No one man, okay, can monopolize boxing. That's not going to happen. Okay? There's nothing new under the sun in the sport of boxing when you just bring it back to television. But yet we have shortages on these PBC deals as well, because they took away our Friday night fucking boxing on ESPN, and we were promised a slot, and where is it? You see what I mean? So this is what I'm saying. Like stick with the new guys, but at the same time, don't disrespect, Top Rank Boxing, just all of them, all of the guys that have given us great legendary matches, all the promotions and the promoters. Don't call them history just yet, because they're still in the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, now that you brought this up, I mean, honestly, is Al Heyman bad for boxing business? Because it's starting to look that way.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the man's an entertainer. He's an entertainment manager. This isn't entertainment. This is a sport. And if you can see the entertainment portion of whatever entertainment you want to call it, sports entertainment, I'm going to dare to say it, has been transitioned into boxing. The ring walks, more padded gloves, more padded crotch. I mean, come on, guys. And then you got the nerve to walk around and say this is the hurt business when the only cuts we get are off a fucking accidental headbutt? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You bring up some good.
Go ahead, Robert.
You know what I mean? It's just the state of boxing. It's just the state of boxing of where it is, guys. You know what I'm saying? We love the sport, so we've got to kick and scream for it, because if not, next thing you know, the casuals will want something very diluted and we won't have anything to talk about.
Yeah, but in defense though, you have to have that's what the UFC. Take the UFC for example here, and I know fights are obviously the central part of that, but there is a lot of promotion based in that too. There's a lot of promotion. They have shows on every week. They got shows about fighters. There's a lot of promotion that goes into that. And that's why it's a popular sport right now. There's got to have some kind of showmanship. You look at, like, say, Conor McGregor, all the trash he talks, and they amplify that with their, promotion machine and everything like that. And I think to me, boxing has to have some of that in order to survive, and at least not necessarily to survive, but in order to thrive, maybe. You know, you want the numbers back. You want people to come to boxing and everything. You need some of that.
Well, I see it like this. Look, we already had like Bullet Truth 1989 says, you know, Prince Nassim Hamed did entertainment in the 90s. So did Roy Jones Jr. There's many. Boxing has one form of entertainment, and that's when you're throwing the hands and your showmanship. You know what I mean? You know, all these fireworks and stuff like that, man. Man, yeah, I mean, maybe it's not for me. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I'm an old head. You know what I mean? I like my old-fashioned boxing and the old ring walk because it shows, you know, all the participating guys who built that fighter during these 4 months of training. You feel what I'm saying? But it's just, I just, you know, all of these new antics and all of this political stuff that's going on. That leave that shit behind the scenes, man. Work it out and just give us the fights that we want. You know what I mean? Before I go off, man, I just want to thank you guys for having me on the show, man. This show is great. And listen, let's bring back same day weigh-ins, man, to keep it safe. That's what I say.
Well, they started doing the day before weigh-ins to keep it safe because they say that people would cut right the day of. And then that dehydrates, I guess it drains something about it dehydrates the fluid in your brain or something like that. And it's just safer to do it the day before. But I hate the weight cut. They've got to do something about that because it's a bad problem. And I know in MMA it is, but I know in boxing it is too. So
yeah, the same day weigh-in will definitely keep it safe and it'll keep them on their toes and would avoid them from cheating. Trust me, that they need to do that. They really need to do that.
Absolutely.
Even though back in the 80s. There were still guys who were, you know, using, as they call them today, performance-enhancing drugs. But in those days, it was just straight steroids. But you know what I mean? You know, we all know that has happened as well. But damn, man, the way it's going down today, man, somebody's going to get killed in there, man.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody's going to get killed in there. And I just want to make this perfectly clear. The UFC, this year alone, has tested more times. Okay, their fighters have tested more times positively than boxing has done in the past 2 years. Do the research, man. It's there.
But you want to know the big difference, though?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, too.
Yeah.
The big difference there is that every one of those guys that tested positive didn't fight. That's the big difference.
Yeah.
That's the big difference. That's the big difference. They didn't fight. Look at John Jones on the eve of UFC 200 when he was going to fight Daniel Cormier. That's the biggest fight out there that they could make. The biggest fight they had. It was a pay-per-view. Their main card, UFC 100 and UFC 200. Their main card, the main event. The guy tested and they pulled him. They didn't even let it. They didn't let him fight. Didn't let it go through. They pulled him.
No, wait a minute. They let one fight go through. Just I think it was Brock Lesnar who tested positive. I think it was 2 days after.
That was after the fact. They couldn't do anything. Yeah, but they couldn't do anything. It took place after the event. They found out after the event.
Yeah, but it did slip through. It did slip through, though.
And that has to do with the time testing. Yeah.
If you ask me, I think it was just business. You know, like, okay, we've got Brock Lesnar. He tested positive.
I would say that too.
Keep this going. Come on, fight him.
I would say that too, but the fact that they pulled Jones out of there, and Jones is a bigger, you know, I don't know. I can't answer if he's a bigger star than Lesnar. I don't know. But Jones is a pretty big star. Jones is like the face of that organization. Yeah. You know, for them to pull him out like that, that's a big deal. Definitely a big deal.
Man.
All right, man. I'll let you get running, man. Thank you so much for the call. All right, man.
All right, guys, man.
Good call, man. Good call.
Wow, what a phone call.
Absolutely. All right, let's move ahead with this news here. Andre Berto gave an interview early this week and said that PBC basically called all of its fighters and said they're going to make competitive fights and that they will be facing each other. So get ready. So it sounds like it's going to be a pretty big year for the PBC. And on tap, piggybacking off of what I just said, two PBC fighters are going to go at it. This is competitive in the same spirit of what Andre Berto said about PBC making fights competitive. Arislandi Lara will face Yuri Foreman on January 13th. If this doesn't scream super fight, I don't know what does. I don't know. So there you
go. This screams. This is a sparring section. That's what that screams.
The WBC had their annual convention in Hollywood, Florida this year. One of the new rules coming out of the meeting was that a fighter's father cannot be the chief seconds in their fighter's corner. So Joseph Diaz Jr., if he's going to fight Gary Russell, he's going to have to do it without his trainer. Gary Russell Jr., I don't know what he's going to do because his dad trains him. What are your thoughts on this? Beeb, what are your thoughts on this?
What about Danny Garcia? This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Because usually the thought, I think what Max Kellerman was saying, or Roy Jones was saying last night, one of the two of them was that they thought, or the WBC thought, that if your father was in there in the corner, that the father would be living vicariously through the fighter, and if the fighter was getting hurt, you'd be hesitant to pull him out. I would think just the opposite. If my son was in there, I think that I'd be more emotionally concerned and more tied to and concerned about the well-being of my child, more so because he's my child, as opposed to just a regular other person in there. So I don't understand that. I can't make sense of it, but that's the reasoning I think that Max Kellerman gave behind that. He didn't agree with it, but or maybe it was Harold Letterman. I don't know. One of them. Someone in the broadcast.
It was Kellerman and Jones talking about it. I remember that.
Think, yeah, well, I think it's ridiculous.
I don't like this, but there's a mixed bag because we've had some situations where fighters have been trainers and they haven't pulled their sons out in time. But we've also had good trainers, like Angel Garcia, like Joseph Diaz, his father, and people like that do pay attention. This is going to be an interesting rule. I'm wondering if the rest of the sanctioning bodies are going to follow this, and all of a sudden, some major fighters are going to be looking for trainers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, look, if that's my trainer and he's been with me through my whole career, I'm not getting rid of him now, just because you say so. Hey, there's 2 or 3 other titles around, man. So with that, more WBC nonsense coming out of the convention. Robert, you and I were talking about this beforehand, and we were trying to figure this out. And I actually got, of course, I get mixed up, and here's the real story. They have mandated, the WBC has come out and mandated that Errol Spence and Tim Bradley are going to fight. You heard that correctly. We all like that fight. I like Tim Bradley and Errol Spence. I think that's a great fight. However, Tim Bradley is the IBF welterweight champion. The WBC can't tell him who to fight. The WBC wants these two to fight as a WBC title eliminator bout. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that.
But wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Okay. Good. I was going to say, but wait a minute. Now you're thoroughly confusing me because Errol Spence is the mandatory for Cal Brook.
Right. He's the mandatory for Cal Brook.
So how does Tim Bradley fit into this? How does Tim Bradley fit into this? He doesn't have a major title, does he?
IBF.
Because he hasn't fought in so long, I can't remember.
Oh, no. That's right. He lost to, that's right. He was the WBO. He lost. I apologize. Yeah, he lost to Pacquiao.
Remember?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Cal Brook is the IBF. So the WBC champion is Danny Garcia. So they want Tim Bradley.
Right.
Yeah, Tim Bradley to fight. Okay, now the story makes sense because I'm a moron. But still, I still don't think that fight comes off. He's not taking that fight. Errol Spence, not to mention that Errol Spence and Bob Arum and Errol Spence is on one side of the fence. Bob Arum is on the other side of the fence. Even though they've been making some headway in that, I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
But like I said, Errol Spence is a mandatory for Cal Brook. That's why I said earlier, which fight, I mean, for money reasons, it would be great to fight Danny Garcia.
Right.
But the easier title, in my opinion, because of the beating he took, would be the Cal Brook title.
Right. I think so, too. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think he matches up well with both of those guys. Beeb, what do you think? What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on who's the easier fighter? Who's the easier fight here? Danny Garcia or Cal Brook for Errol Spence?
Danny Garcia, I think. I think Cal Brook is a better fighter than Danny Garcia. I really do.
Yeah, come next.
But Beeb, can you say that after the beating he took against Golovkin? We don't know what kind of shape.
Yeah.
We don't know what kind of shape he's going to be in.
I don't know. I just seen Danny Garcia have problems though. I've seen him look so vulnerable in certain fights. You know what I mean?
Well, look, I think Keith Thurman is going to beat Danny Garcia, so Danny Garcia may not even be in this discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So question about Cal Brook, because we don't know he's going to come back from that eye socket. Really don't.
Yeah, they said that could be deviling throughout his career. So yeah. There you go.
Eddie Hearn maybe threw one of his best fighters to the wolves, and he got permanently damaged.
Yeah, that was a bad move.
All right, so moving ahead here. Promoters will now be able to get insurance in New York. When the law, this is crazy, because when the law legalizing MMA in New York went into effect, it raised the minimum coverage for a boxing card from $10,000 to $50,000 for medical insurance, per fighter on the card. But now the new law has also required an unprecedented $1 million minimum requirement for each fighter in the event that the fighter suffers a life-threatening brain injury, which I think is, I think that's fair. I think that's fine. New York's department. The problem is that they couldn't get the insurance. They're saying that they couldn't get insurance. I don't really fully understand, because I think there's been fights in New York since this has been mentioned. So, and the UFC has actually held 2 cards there, but they were covered by AIG, which has an MMA only insurance. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
I think I could be wrong here, but I think the difference is they've had fights in New York for boxing, but they've been bigger cards. I guess what this new law did, it affected the smaller cards,
right?
And it affected the smaller promoters from being able to purchase the insurance. So I think what you're saying here now is they've worked out a deal so all the promoters can purchase the kind of insurance they need, so their boxing cards can go forward.
Right. New York's Department of Financial Services, the state agency that worked with the insurance industry, has approved a policy for the United States Fire Insurance Company, who's actually going to get this, make this available to the promoters so that they can do cards. But cards like the Broadway boxing cards or whatever, like the smaller shows, they're still going to have a tough time with this, because that's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's hard for them.
That's a lot of money.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that. Yeah.
For them, and they don't have to pay $1 million per fighter. They've just got to get $1 million in coverage, which still isn't going to equate to peanuts.
Right.
That's still a lot of money for them to cover.
Going to have problems with that.
Yeah, he's been complaining. He's being the biggest opponent of this. Is DeBella. So.
Well, hey, you get that Italian blood of his going. He puts on quite the show. I've definitely heard some interviews with him. Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
Also, too, Amir Khan and Kell Brook, is that possibly in the works? Both Khan and Brook took to Twitter and to tell each other how much they don't like each other. Brook indicated that the two sides are talking to set something up here, which I found interesting. I mean, usually, they're just kind of going back and forth. So what? But it's what Kell Brook said. Amir Khan and Kell Brook are going back and forth on social media. Amir put up a photo of himself and Triple G on Twitter with a caption that read, "First man to smash Kell Brook's face," with Triple G standing next to the guy who's going to be the next one to smash Brook's face. So it was just one of those type things. And he added the hashtag ready when you are. Kell Brook, of course, not to be outdone, fired back. "Glad you've woken up from your last KO. I believe our teams are talking, and I look forward to sending you back to sleep." So there you go. Maybe that's in the works. But again,
well, like I just indicated, Eric, there's a problem with that fight because Kell Brook's going to have to deal with Errol Spence.
Yeah, I don't see Errol Spence taking aside any step-aside money, but maybe he does. Who knows?
We'll see.
I think he will. You know what? I think he will take aside. If you think about it, he's made the man. He's going to be for a title eliminator in the WBC. Danny Garcia holds that title. Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia are going to fight. It still stays in PBC hands. I think he goes that route.
Right.
I think he goes that route. So I think he may stay. I think what he does is takes a step aside money, goes that route, and then fights the winner of Thurman and Garcia. So.
Okay, well, that's sense.
Under no circumstances do I see him
UK
fighting Tim
the
Bradley.
The UK can have another big mega fight in the UK with Khan and Brooke.
And that's a mega fight. That's a big fight over there. That's a big fight over there. We talked about Chavez and Canelo being a big fight. That's a huge fight over there. So there it is, man.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Floyd Mayweather wants DeGale, Eloise DeGale. Last month at a press conference for James DeGale, his fight against Badu Jack, Floyd Mayweather had plenty of nice things to say about DeGale. The two seemed to get along great, and Floyd even asked for his phone number after the press conference, James DeGale's phone number. DeGale suspects that Mayweather has another motive because he seems to have taken a liking to DeGale's older sister, Eloise, who happens to be James DeGale's personal assistant. DeGale told The Sun the following. He said, "I'm not sure if he likes me or my sister. You think I'm joking?" He said, but my sister's boyfriend is standing there. He's not happy. I'm telling you the truth." DeGale added, also, he likes me a lot because I remind him of a young Floyd Mayweather. That's because I'm a good fighter, a bit mouthy, and probably a bit flashy. Mayweather came clean and admits he likes DeGale's sister, but he's also stating she has a boyfriend. So, you know. Robert, you went out with Eloise DeGale. Is she worth the trouble?
Eric, that would be quite the feat if I was able to do that, because have you guys seen pictures of her?
I have. Have you seen pictures of her?
Knockout.
Yeah, she's not bad.
Yes.
She's not bad.
Yeah. But no, I wish I could take credit for that, but whoever her boyfriend is, he's mighty lucky. And Floyd, he's got a bad history with women, so I would definitely keep her away from him.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And if Eloise DeGale or James DeGale is listening, Robert apparently has a crush on your sister, so send him his way. He's out in California, sunny Cal. Hey, what more could you want? It's a beautiful state.
If anybody's seen pictures of her during his fights, you'd all have crushes on her.
All right, moving forward. Robert Easter returns February 10th. Robert Easter Jr. is now set to make his first title defense in his hometown. The fight will take place at the Huntington Center in Toledo, Ohio. The opponent has not been named yet, but this broadcast will be PBC on Bounce TV. The bout will take place February 10th. The card will also include Cincinnati's own Rashid Warren, the champion. He's going to do in his first title defense since winning a lopsided decision to get that title that rightfully should have been around his waist first. So there you go. Jamel Herring will also be on that card. And more nonsense from Floyd and Conor. Floyd Mayweather hit up Instagram Live and ripped into UFC star calling Conor McGregor the B word. Floyd didn't stop there. He also posted a video of Conor McGregor getting choked out by Nate Diaz and offered 10 G's to the person who comes up with the best caption for the video. And later on, he posted a video saying that he would slap the you-know-what out of McGregor. Beeb, where's the story here? I mean, this isn't going anywhere. No, I mean, this is not going anywhere, right? This is just talk. This is just nonsense. This is just keeping both guys in the media. Is that right?
It's so funny because Floyd Mayweather is supposedly putting himself so much higher than Conor McGregor in terms of he made $100 million, he did this, he did that. So why is he stooping down to Conor McGregor's level? If Conor McGregor is so insignificant in comparison to Floyd Mayweather, then why does Floyd Mayweather start to talk about him so much now? Now it was always Conor McGregor talking about Floyd Mayweather. Now Floyd Mayweather is starting to respond to some of this different stuff, and now he's starting to talk about Conor McGregor. Just a bad look. Like, it's just rise above it. You know you're never going to fight the guy. You know you're never going to slap him when you see him because you know that's not true. So what's with all the BS? Just let it go, forget about it, and just keep doing you. You know, you said you're retired. You said you're enjoying your life. Let this guy say what he wants to say. Does it really matter at the end of the day? I mean, you're in a better place right now, so who cares? Fight's never going to happen.
That's it. He's under contract. Nothing you can do, buddy. Nothing you can do.
Nothing. Why even talk about it?
Well, you know what?
If you're Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting, and we'll have more on this in the coming weeks or whatever, but Randy Couture was just on a podcast, and he was talking about the Muhammad Ali Act and how that's going to extend to people in MMA, which means they can go anywhere they want. So it's apparently like UFC, they can fight for the UFC belt as well as they can fight for the Bellator belt. They won't be bound anymore by an organization. So if that goes through, maybe stuff like this does happen. I don't know. But the fact that I think it's Nick Diaz or one of the Diaz brothers got their boxing license as well as Conor McGregor did, and that puts them under the protection of the Muhammad Ali Act. Now, they're still under, but MMA is not under that protection, and we'll get to more of this as the story unfolds. But just something interesting here. If that goes through, maybe something like this goes on. I don't know. So
you're going to have to, Eric, you're going to have to put this through Congress, and with all the political division.
That's what they're doing. Yeah, that's what they're doing. Yeah.
But I'm sure there won't be anything stopping Dana White from putting fighters on the shelf if they decide to cross over without his approval.
Right.
That's right. And he already came out and said, we covered the story, what was it, a week or two ago, that he was not going to allow McGregor to box.
Well, even if he can't stop him from boxing, he can sure as hell stop him from being in an MMA fight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, he can shut it down real quick.
It is what it is.
Absolutely, yeah.
Shut him down, yeah.
Uncle Dana can shut it down pretty quick, I'll tell you that. All right.
Absolutely, no question.
So that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or you can call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 773-572-7781 and leave him a message. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1 and find his YouTube channel at www.beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside 73, and we will see you next week sometime. Next week. Have a good holiday.
Yep. Good night, everybody.
And Merry Christmas, everybody, and Happy New Year.
All right.